7th Annual National Tractor Pulling Championships here in Bowling Green, Ohio, presented by Maxim Tire. It's the Countdown to Pull Time show. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Phil Kelly. I'll let you introduce.
Esteemed? I don't think I got any steam. I'm not full of hot air, am I? I can be.
No, Phil. Go ahead. I hold you in high esteem. How's that?
You're teasing me. So Bert Forbes here joins us, but who joins us most importantly, who we're here to listen to and actually prize for some information, is Mr. Dave Schultz, the president of the Northwest Ohio Truck and Tractor Pullers Club Association. I don't know which moniker
it's a club.
It's a club. But you are our host for the weekend. You work in association with the fairgrounds, the Wood County Fairgrounds.
How this actually works.
Yeah.
This event's put on by the Northwest Ohio Tractor Pullers. We're the promoter of the National Tractor Pulling Championships.
Gotcha. So
to be correct.
And then you guys work out a deal with the fairgrounds. Yep. That then in turn you contract the NTPA to be the sanctioning body for your event.
Yeah.
So
we actually rent the fairgrounds to put on this event. This event's been put on since 1967 in this same place on these same tracks.
But tonight is Thursday night. It's your. Do you have a lump in your throat, like right now, like birthing a baby? Tell me what you're feeling.
I'm not feeling, I'm not worried about what's going to happen out here. It's what's going to happen up there. It's like, okay, is Mother Nature going to play nice with us? We've been here since last Friday, getting everything ready. It's the anticipation. I cannot wait for the first tractors or trucks to go down these tracks, just because we've worked all year. And everybody that knows me knows I'm into countdown clocks. And, sometimes it's 300 and some days. We're 2 hours and 47 minutes and 40 seconds away from making noise out on this track if Mother Nature plays nice with us.
So what he's referring to is on social media. You can follow them and their page, the National Tractor Pulling Championships, as well as the Northwest Ohio social media pages. And Dave puts literally on Sunday morning, he'll put up a book that says 362 days until the time we're back again. What could you tell us about tonight in particular? Is a military appreciation night, to my understanding. What does that all involve?
It is. We actually let
What's
military veterans. I got to see who's driving that tractor because they love spraying my back every once in a while. Tonight we actually honor our veterans that have paid the price for our freedom so that we can do what we're going to do out here tonight. We owe so much to them, and we let them come out. We just cannot thank them enough to be able to have the freedom to be able to do what we're doing tonight. So we've got a special ceremony tonight. One of the things we're going to be doing a swearing in of new recruits right out here in the winner's circle. They'll be taking the oath to serve our country.
Wow. That's a commitment, and that's a commitment to do in front of all these people and for all these people. That's exactly the bigger commitment. I didn't have that inner fortitude when I was a kid to make that choice. I probably just didn't have the discipline that probably they could have instilled in me. But in conjunction with that, you have a young lady coming out of Oklahoma to sing our anthem tonight.
Her grandfather is a statewide puller, and he made a comment. They were watching one of the live streams last year and said, you should go sing the anthem there. And her mom actually called or sent me an email and said, hey, my daughter would be interested in coming. They drove 12 hours to get here so she could sing the anthem here. And her grandfather was just beside himself that we actually accepted her to come out.
And we have a short amount of time with you, so I don't want to steal every question because I've already done it. I see the look on both of their faces like, when are you going to be quiet? What did you have, Bert?
I was going to say, me and PK, we were just walking down the track, kind of talking the game plan for tonight, and all of a sudden, both of us thought it was like a recording. But her voice projected, beautifully. And if you watch the people that were already here, they stood up and saluted the flag. Tonight that's going to be a special event.
It's going to be really special, and we have so many Canadian fans, and we're so close to the Canadian border. Evie Van Voris, who's a local girl. She sang here last year. She's going to be doing the Canadian anthem.
And we have some Canadian competitors as well, so it's only appropriate.
So we do that every year, and she's actually going to be singing the Canadian, and then Allie from Oklahoma is coming in to sing our American anthem. So we are super excited to have them come out. Saturday night, Abby Paxvan Hunter, She started singing here when she was 9 years old and has sang just about every year since then, and she's in her early 30s. So
wow, nice growth.
That progression of
so my emailed in audition tape didn't make the cut. It hit the cutting room floor.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have self-video.
Neither did mine. It was like they threw mine away.
Gotcha.
So
It's a delete. It's a
There's
long-term
always
delete.
hope. 2025, you got it.
Yeah,
buddy. Don't
right.
worry.
I'll send a new
Practice.
submission in. So those of you at home, they look within and outside of what we've got in our polling network, and that's what we're talking about. And you guys are watching complimentarily on our social media channels, on our YouTube channel, on our Full Poll Live page, and social media channels. Don't forget to check on the Full Poll picks and the head-to-heads. But Dave is our host with his group, and how many are in your, and we affectionately term you guys the blue shirts?
We've been the blue shirts for all these years.
How many?
We have over 225 members.
And it takes every
single one of them. I mean, it doesn't matter what their job is. It is important to we need every single one of them to put this on. And we have members that have been here since day one. We still have one of our charter members. He's not here, but he's still
part of the club,
part of the club.
membership.
And so we have him. We have members that have been here since year 2. And so it takes every single one of them, from the guys out here on the track building these tracks,
yes,
to checking coolers when the people come in, to selling merchandise, to people like me that just run my mouth about bragging about what these men and women do. I get the opportunity to tell everybody what these men and women do, because if it wasn't for every single one of them, this event wouldn't happen tonight.
And even the coordination of latrines and a garbage can beside a hand wash day. I mean,
it's everything. I mean, the list is
hammers to nails,
pages long of what it takes. And every month during our board meetings, we go down that list. Okay, what needs to be done in January? We go through all of that to make sure everything hit. So tonight at 7 o'clock, I don't have the exact time.
Hook drop, 7 p.m.
It's when that first tractor runs down. That means that checklist is done, and we get ready to start on to 2025's checklist. and we never quit.
I didn't mean to steal the flame from your eye.
That
we never
checklist
quit.
Never ends.
It never does.
And y'all are constantly doing upgrades to this facility. The last time I was here was about 12 years ago, and so it's been a while since I've been here on the grounds, and it's like a totally different layout compared to what it was then. But the way the facility is, it's easy to get around. And if you're lost, go to a blue shirt. I was lost today. I was trying to find a media room. Somebody told me to go get a media room. I had to get my media pass. And I'm like, I just walked up to a blue shirt. I was like, where's the media room? I just right over there. I was like, thank you. So it's, you guys make it feel like home. You have an enormous crowd here, and people, they save up. They come to Bowling Green. I mean, look at your campgrounds. They are slam packed. The pullers love it. I mean, because what do we got? 66 two-wheel drives tonight?
Yeah, I lost track. Yeah.
We got 53 mini rods, somewhere along in there. So we've
40
got
almost four-wheel drives. Yeah.
So
in tonight's session alone.
Yeah.
So tonight, if you're tuning in to the Full Poll Live and the streaming service, you can watch it live. You'll switch over there. We'll probably give you a little teaser of a few runs first before we pass you off to the commitment of the subscription. But tonight, the classes are, Darren, what were the classes for this evening again?
We have light super stocks, two-wheel drive trucks, four-wheel drive trucks, light modifieds, and unlimited modifieds. So 5 exciting classes on tap here tonight, and big classes. One more thing I wanted to say about the Northwestern Ohio Tractor Pullers. It is a completely volunteer organization, right, Dave?
It is. All of our members, we volunteer our time, and sometimes it's all week. I mean, we've had people here since Friday to be able to put this thing on. So, we love doing this. I have a thing I tell people: the blue shirts don't spectate well. You'll see a lot of blue shirts at other polls helping out, whether it be the farm show, the truck show, the show that was just in Napoleon.
Yep.
A lot of our members go and do that because we love the sport of truck and tractor. One of the missions of the Northwest Ohio Tractor Pullers is to promote the sport of truck and tractor pulling. So we love going and doing things. A lot of our people know the different promoters, and we go, hey, what can we do to come and help? Because we just love being part of the pull.
And another thing that you mentioned, that you guys also mentor other clubs, clubs that are up and coming and are putting on tractor pulls and promoting pulls. You guys are very open in helping them out as well.
We love to do that. The pulling world is a family. And that's, it's one of those, if we can help, like I said, we don't spectate well, so we'll actually go and physically help. But a lot of times I'll get phone calls going, hey, what do you think? I owe a guy right now a phone call. I just haven't had a chance to sit down. And he just has...
He's watching, just so you know.
Yeah. He wants to pick my brain.
Yeah.
What do we
What's
do?
working, what's not?
Right.
How do we align a percentage of budget into certain line items? p.m. on Thursday evening. 5 p.m. is a driver's meeting. You guys need to slip
leave.
Yeah,
away.
we got to learn some stuff. I left everything pulled
Absolutely.
up for you, PK.
Thank you.
So,
Is this a touchscreen? I'm not that modern.
I'm sorry, no.
Okay.
I'm not that rich. So,
We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go to the drivers' meeting because, that's where this whole thing starts for tonight. We'll talk to the drivers and make sure
the product on the field, the competition.
Right.
This is why everybody comes to Bowling Green, is to see this on the track. So
Absolutely.
These guys are building the track right now, and we're going to go over and talk to the drivers, and we'll be ready tonight.
Absolutely. We'll drop your headsets there on the counter there. Thank you for joining us, Dave. The competition on the track is why the numbers, why the groups, and the amount of super stocks that'll be here tonight. The two-wheelers, thank you, sir. We'll catch you, Bert. I want a live report, Bert. Hurry back. Hey, don't hit that fire pizza box thing, fire truck pizza. Bert, your phone. Oh, it's your hotspot link. Oh, yeah, we almost lost our picks if he takes the hotspot away.
All right.
So did you see the picks yet? So I hadn't. As I just traveled in, we had a local fair back home, Western Pennsylvania. How was your drive in?
Oh, it was great. I came in yesterday.
Easy ahead of the curve.
Yeah. We arrived around noon yesterday, so you got to get here to Bowling Green is big time. You have to be here early. You have to stay late, and it was just really good to get here early, get settled in a little bit, and check out. I mean, the thing about Bowling Green, the merchandise tents, all the vendors row. This is the biggest tractor pull in the world, and it is an amazing place to come. And it takes several days to kind of see everything. I made trips around yesterday. I made several more today. And, one of the things that Phil and I were talking about earlier on, I'm just looking at the list. That's why I'm looking at my phone. So we do, currently have 61 two-wheel drives registered for tonight.
And then I pulled up, because you're my stats guy, you're my history guy that I lean on. I'm just the fun flash in the pan. I'm looking at the points spread and the points breakdown as they just have updated it recently here.
Yes.
And it's a heck of a tight points race coming straight off from Napoleon.
Yeah, John Hunt with the Taz truck.
3-point spread.
Yeah, he's ahead by 3. And look at the people that are right behind him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the barbed wire truck of the Foster family out of Tennessee. Donnie Sullivan, your defending Grand National champion, in third.
Yeah, and the big stick.
Exactly, multiple-time champion. And then right after that is Jesse Petro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you need to say. The Petro family, they won 10 titles in a row. And that's all you need to say.
And to say that we saw Homans out walking the track already, and it's nothing but crumbles, and they were already taking in the input of what that track was producing. The guys are already out here walking the track to our right-hand side, which would be the start line for you guys at home. But we also saw Jesse Petro, because he wanted to see when it was hard packed before they started to till it. And he came out and was picking at the track just like they normally do.
Yeah, so if we're going to transition to four-wheel drive, Phil.
Yes, sir.
Little tidbits. Not only have the Holmans won 12 Grand National Championships, they have the most wins here at Bowling Green, the most wins and the most rings. So the Holman brothers, at last count, was 9 rings here at the National Tractor Pulling Championships in Bowling Green. So the Holmans are from about 30 miles from here.
And they're sitting 5th in points coming into this event.
They are
5th in points. I mean, they've got a steep hill to climb right now at 30 points because Outlaw and Mark.
Yeah, Mark Mangan is 21 points ahead, I believe, coming into tonight over Jake Zaring in Rule 19.
Yep.
And then third place is Scott Phillips. I mean, took a 12-year hiatus from pulling. And, Scott Phillips, 2004 NTPA Grand National Champion out of Marlette, Michigan. And Scott is back, and he is loving it. It's good to have Scott back. We missed him, and it's good to have him back. I mean, a couple of runner-up finishes in Chapel Hill for Scott. He's had a really good year. Mark Mangan is coming off of that Grand National title from last year, and it went down to the wire last year with Jake Zaring in Rule 19, who won the title the year before. And in 6th place is the Foster child, who won the title the year before that.
Yep.
So, and we don't want to forget about fourth place.
Absolutely.
Ike Searing had a big win.
No, don't let him. Somebody put the blocker on. I thought we had security here. So anyway, we've got our astute contributor here with our. Wait, what were your picks? Did you get your picks in? And you're going to do the head-to-heads. And my understanding is we have handshake bets on site here. They've got a plan, and they check their Instagram and their social media handles, Instagram, TikToks. And I think TikToks are fun. I don't know why, but when I lay down at night and mine's going 200-plus mile an hour, I start to scroll. I get caught in the scroll, and they're one of the ones in my TikToks that I will click and stay through what they've produced and some of their information and some of their head-to-heads and things like that they've got going on. So we've courted them to help highlight our social media, to use their social media to highlight our event and how popular it is and what goes on and surrounding here at the National Tractor Pulling Championships. And when you put that moniker on something, as I tell someone, hey, I got to slip out of my local fair, they're like, seriously? You're going to leave your livestock auction? And I'm like, yeah. It's the National Tractor Pulling Championships.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is huge. You know, I mean, this is the National Tractor Pulling Championships, the biggest tractor pull in the world. Started in 1967 right here at the Wood County Fairgrounds, and has continued every year since. I mean, unfortunately, we had to take the COVID year off, but other than that, it's been going really well. For those of you on site, wanted to let you know that the 2023 ring winners are under the covered grandstand signing autographs. So if you're here on site, you can hear me. The 2023 ring winners are under the covered grandstand signing autographs.
So in speaking to that, I've never been able to make two good back-to-back runs here.
Yeah, so a little.
Or maybe I'm allergic to a ring.
A little bit of history, folks. When I was writing for the Puller magazine, the first time I met my esteemed colleague, I'm going to say it again, Phil Kelly, was right here in the Winter Circle in Bowling Green. I met this super farm puller from Western PA in the Winter Circle trying to get my story and get my quotes for the Puller magazine back in the day. So
thank you for that.
The Red-Blooded Binder International.
Thanks. Yeah, I can't put together two good runs. I can take the water injection system off one day, and I can put together a good run the second day. I can never do two back-to-back.
Maybe this is your weekend, Phil.
Maybe.
You did bring the tractor.
You know what I did do? I set my full pull picks.
Did you? Nice.
So if I can get, I don't know which one. Yeah, I like them both. Yeah, I mean, one, I can afford to buy better parts for the other. But let's move forward.
Yes.
Kicking forward, we're looking at, I clicked the wrong button, but I wanted to talk about the points race. Because a lot of guys, as we came off of Napoleon here a week ago, they started talking about, let me get to light mod.
We're getting into crunch time.
Yes, that's what
We're going to crown a champion in the light modified division, the super semi division, and the open super stocks this weekend. So light modified, the Simon Says team out of Farley, Iowa, is 5 points ahead of the legendary Bill Voorhees.
In a class of 12,
yes,
these others, 5 back, Bill Voorhees has a chance here. He has a chance. 5 back, 12 hooks. Simon Says finishes 5th or worse, and Bill's, you know what I mean? Like, do the math. We can play the stats game, and I love the way you bring stats to the table. There's opportunity there, and I'm not going to call it low-hanging fruit. They're going to have to reach for it.
Right.
But it's attainable as coming into a championship and take over this lead.
Correct. And especially things change very rapidly here in Bowling Green. Because of the large class sizes, things can happen very quickly here. You can see wild swings in points. Even, 5 points with only 2 hooks left. But that is still definitely attainable because of the numbers here in Bowling Green.
But then we look back through the third, the Kentuckian. International Salvation is 4th. Feisty Farmer, 5th. Corporal Punishment, 6th. That group is within 3 points of each other.
Yeah.
So they're fighting for 3rd place in that group. But really, they can jump back up in the second.
I mean, let's start in 6th place and work our way back up. I mean, Les Corporal with the Corporal Punishment, they're defending Grand National Champion in this class. The Feisty Farmer, Todd and Terry Feist. The Feistes have been competing in this light unlimited and light modified class.
Sponsor of the class as well.
Yes, since it came back in. This whole class sponsored by GMS Machine.
Yes.
That's Brent Payne is also one of the competitors. Now the International Salvation, that's a very, very strong tractor out of here in Ohio. And then the Kentuckian. I mean,
who doesn't love the Kentuckian?
Yeah, Wayne Sullivan. I was with my friend's son. We were under the covered grandstand in the Retired Pullers Museum there. And my friend's son asked me, he said, "Hey, is that the same hood on the Kentucky?" And back then, there's a picture of Wayne Sullivan from the late 60s, early 70s. And I said, yes, that is the
front
original
nose
hood.
cone and
yeah,
bonnet. Yep.
It's still on that tractor today. So, I mean, you talk about legends in the sport, and they're all here competing for championships.
Absolutely. So if you're watching from home, this is the complimentary version of our countdown to pull time. We pull here. The pre-race show and the pomp and circumstance of the of the show kick off at 6:30. It's a military appreciation night here tonight. There's still time for you to get here. This is for the amount of quantity. That's the same. That's a misnomer. For the amount of equipment that's going to be here, the quantity of quality equipment that's going to be here, a goal and an item on people's bucket lists. No Zaring pun here for the four-wheel drive Ike Zaring bucket list. Is Bowling Green. It's Bowling Green as a fan, and it's Bowling Green as It's Bowling Green as a venue. You want to be able to come here and achieve things. You look at yourself as a puller and you join in, and you want to be able to say attainably against some of the best in the country who made this travels that you competed against the best and you achieved good results. I set a goal for myself, but I don't want to say it because I've got superstitions, and that's something is you pay your $39.99. This is the best month to join for the quantity of sessions and events you get to see all of Bowling Green. You get the flashback forward into Napoleon and where we were in Rockwell, Iowa, and you get the rest of the month also for your subscription-based commitment to us at Full Pull Live. You get a lot of pulling. I think I want to touch on some of our superstitions. You know what's funny about superstitions? Most people don't want to talk about their superstitions, right? Like, where's my underwear? My left sock go on first than my right sock. Am I wearing green or not wearing green as a big motorsports misnomer? But those are all things that we'll touch on Full Pull Live and on our social media channels. You'll see more from us, and our driver chats are being edited down, and we're growing those as we do each week. Some of the things we can't get into on weeks like this where we're doing 5 sessions. Tonight's session, tomorrow at noon, tomorrow at 7 p.m., we'll do the Countdown to Pull Time show, and that inhibits us from doing a lot of the driver interviews and sit-down interviews, which we'll be able to consume through the off-season with your subscription and your payment. But at the same time, I'm looking at Full Pull picks. And the head-to-heads that we have are phenomenal. And what you're doing is trying to literally pick who may be finishing ahead of the other. There's also some comprehensive bets, some picks and analogies of who gets the longest distance towards the end of the track. But when we talk about light mods, and we're talking about north side track, if you're looking over my shoulder, north side track, my understanding is light mods are first. Coming up after them should be the four-wheel drives, 38 or so of them. Following them will be the light Superstock class. Coming up later in this show, we've invited Adam Spiegelberg, and he's going to come straight from the drivers' meeting. We're going to get Bert Forbes back from the drivers' meeting to hear what they're talking about, to understand what they're going to discuss here at the drivers' meeting. We want to give you guys an inside glimpse of what these pollers are talking about, what they're going through, and put it in your living room, or maybe you're in your shop and you're still working this evening, or maybe you're at home with a bunch of buddies and you're gathered around the TV and you're chatting. But we want to make and include you. But let's kick over to that light Superstock class, which should be the third class on that north side track this evening. And considered armed and dangerous, has a slim 3-point margin over the Yield Express. That Yield Express is coming off of a 4th place or 5th place finish coming out of Rockwell, Iowa. Just prior to that, he got a 3rd place finish the session prior, and then Brandenburg was really good to him with, I think, a 2nd place finish. So he's only 3 points out, so he can attain this. And as guys, we talked earlier this season and earlier last week and the week before, guys sent the benchmark and where they're going to come over this cliff or not and be able to have an attainable chance at a championship tends to be Bowling Green. But also, when you look at Bowling Green, the quantity of equipment can tend to be a hindrance because you don't feel like you're pulling right next to you. You'd love to pull against the guy who you're challenging for that lead. If he's 3 points out, you want him to be 1 ahead of you or 1 behind you to say you'd have similar track conditions. But the Yield Express is 3 points back. The John Deere, that 7310, is 12 points back. So you're looking at 3rd, 4th, heck, let's just number it out here. 12 points, 13 points, 16 points, 19 points back. back to 7th point. So you're still looking at that same scenario of the 3rd place guy through the 7th place guy are all within a few, very few points of each other. That gunpowder and lead, the armed and dangerous excessive force, detonator black of Adam Spiegelberg, they're all in an attainable, pounceable scenario when you start talking about collecting points. The issue becomes in your mental psyche of how you approach this event. I know myself is, do I want to put together a safe, classic, and I don't want to use the word safe, but a competitive run, or I'm laying it all on the line and I want to get every inch out of the air pressures in my tire, the gear ratio that I suspect will gain me power yet torque on the other end, as well as the balance and controllability of how we want to do it. But that also means that we go through brake systems, water injection systems, fuel systems, and then we start looking at air and what the air is doing here. We're looking at a little bit of an overcast sky. Not a little bit. It's fully overcast. There was a light mist in the air earlier as they started prepping the track. Looks like they're using a cat's foot out there now to give it a little bit of compaction down. What they had done earlier was a chisel plow. They came by with water after the chisel plow. Then they ran the rototiller across. Rototiller took it. Now they're doing a little bit of leveling and truing up the surface north to south, east to west. So every lane is a plausible lane. But as I click on over, so that was the light superstocks. That's track conditions as we follow up. The guys will be coming back from a driver's meeting soon enough. Darren stepped away because he's also the announcer here with Bowling Green and their host stand and things like that. So Darren stepped away, so I'm left here to chat with you. But I encourage you to stop on over that Full Pull Picks, and it's fullpull.us, and you can click on what the two-wheel drives are doing. You can click on the light modifieds, which will be up later tonight. But on this track nearest to me will be the two-wheel drives, and that is the south side track, the two-wheel drives, and it looks like it logged me off, and I don't want to take the time to log back in to waste your time listening to me. That's fair, right? So let's kick on over to the two-wheel drives and see where they're at on their points chase. As the points for the two-wheel drive, okay, got a little nervous. The headset, you can listen to yourself in your headset. And when that goes away, I think, uh-oh, I've talked too much and they've hit the mute button on me. But when we talk about Taz, Barbed Wire, the Big Stick, and the Buckeye Hauler, they're going to be over here against we looked at nearly 60 entries. So when you think about being the first few hooks or being the latter few hooks, not yet, the latter few hooks, track conditions are going to play a big part of it. And as we saw what we ran into in Napoleon, that two-wheel drive class was using multiple different lanes. And as the sun set in the middle of their class, they were searching for traction on the big end. And then as the moisture started to come back up through, they could get more drive off on the starting side. So in a big class like that, that can make huge implications in finishing positions. But what will be over here on this south side track are the Unlimiteds. And the Unlimiteds, I think, have 9 to 10 entries. As Darren rejoins us from his obligations here with the Fairgrounds and the National Tractor Point Championships commitments that he has prior. So thanks for joining me back. But there's, I think there's 11 Unlimiteds. Was it 10 or 11?
Let me check my phone.
That's okay. So mine just logged me out, so I didn't want to look down to do it.
Okay. Well,
but
hopefully mine didn't, so we'll see.
Joe Ader has an 8-point lead.
Yes.
That is a tough, in that class, that is a tough mountain to climb.
It is. It is.
For cross-threaded.
Right, but if anybody can do it, Adam Bauer has the second most Grand National Championships in history. He is your defending Grand National Champion. So, according to my list here, Phil, looks like there are 10 registered for Unlimited. So that's the problem, right? So I don't know if you explained how the points work. So you get 30 points.
I did not.
Okay, so you get 15 points for showing up at an NTPA event and registering, right? And then the winner gets 15 more. So the most points you can accumulate in a Grand National session is 30 points. So the winner gets 14, winner gets 15, second gets 14, third gets
stacking on to what we call being present points.
Yes.
Your 15 allotted to you for being on site.
Yes. So the least amount of points you can get is 15. So in a big class like two-wheel drive where we have roughly 37 trucks registered for Grand National
points,
Grand National points and running the series. So, there are 15 trucks that are going to get, or 14 trucks that are going to get more than the minimum 15, and then we'll have just, after that, everyone gets 15. So you can see some rapid point swings in two-wheel drive truck. Where in Unlimited, that is a class where it is the most horsepower, the most engines. There are
makes your guts rumble.
Yeah, there are less competitors in that class. So making up points in a class like that or super stock diesel where there are less is harder than it is, say, in a two-wheel drive truck class or a four-wheel drive truck class where there are more competitors in those classes.
That could shake up a points race.
Right, but Joe Ader, this is it is not a lock by any means for Joe Ader, and he would be the first to tell you that. The competition in Unlimited is so tight, and unfortunately, there is always the chance for catastrophic breakage. I mean, when you're running 4 and 5 engines that hard, and there are 3 hooks left. So we have the 2 hooks here at the National Tractor Pulling Championships in Bowling Green, and then we have 1 hook in Wellington, Ohio next Friday. So we're going to crown a champion in the Unlimited class very soon. And, it comes down to a battle of Adam Bauer and Joe Ader. I can't think of a better battle in Unlimited.
And as you'll see passing behind us eventually, they're grading and truing up the track. But the commitment to their surface, as you'll see pass behind us, and I just feel to point it out, they're literally doing a track walk of picking stones that are larger than their thumb. Larger than their thumb.
Yeah.
That's rare in truck and tractor pulling because they don't put a lot of facilities don't have the manpower to be able to put in that time and effort. So going back to the setup of the Unlimiteds, they get less infiltration from regionals that might disturb their points race, meaning a guy on a regional may short hook, get a 270 where everybody else is at 290, and I use those numbers vaguely, that somebody else has to drive through the holes and may disrupt their run. When we look at two-wheel drives, there's a lot more, I don't want to call it infiltration, but there's a lot more cohesion of regionals and two-wheel drives, and they're pulling against the Grand Nationals here tonight.
Yes.
That can make line choice differences that then make a Grand National hook that may be following them change their line choice.
That is correct. If you're reading a track, as you all know, Phil, maybe you think there's one pass on, if everybody's going to the left side of the track, you think there's one pass on that right center, and, a regional competitor takes it. But again, the rules for two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive are basically the same throughout the country, right?
Yes.
So that's why those are larger classes. Mini modifieds, two-wheel drives, four-wheel drives, super farms, those classes, the rules from
there's slight
coast.
Differences on super farms, but in the two-wheel drives case, in the four-wheel drive case, they're lock, stock, and barrel per nearly any sanction body and state-level organization.
Yes.
So they can jump up and compete.
Limits may be a little different in some organizations. On the four-wheel drive side, the naturally aspirated side, but two-wheel drive, basically coast to coast, is the same. So, and one thing that we talked about earlier, talking about coast to coast, I saw Alan Babel here earlier in the pit area. He used to pull an open super from California, so we literally have, and the international flavor, today I talked to fans that are here from the Netherlands. I talked to fans here from England. We have competitors from several provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, obviously Ontario. We're only, I would say, an hour and a half, 2 hours from the Canadian border here,
right,
with, Windsor and then farther north in Sarnia. So Detroit, Port Huron, Michigan. So those border crossings are very close. Even the other side of the lake, around Buffalo, that's not that far of a drive from here either. So, it's Bowling Green is easy to get to too. I think that helps.
I agree. Just the arterial infrastructure of what Ohio brings. We come. I come across 80 and drop straight down 23, 75 to 23, and it's a lock, stock, and barrel. Like we were just 30 minutes. It felt like away. I don't really know how because I didn't drive the distance like the rest of the guys did. I went home and came back from Napoleon. And we talk about surfaces, and Napoleon very similar to this. And we heard Adam Kester say he was satisfied. Well, he won, obviously, with his Mini. If you guys didn't tune in, or you can look back for your subscription and watch Napoleon from last week, Adam Kester won in his Mini. And in his interview, in his conversation afterwards, he had attributed this surface to being so similar in Napoleon that he was confident coming here. More confident, I should say. Because Adam Kester, you know what I mean, they're loaded for bear. They've got a great combination of how they operate their pulling teams and their three. And Ron's walk the line minis is what we're referring to if you're not familiar at home, knowing we're a social media audience. So not everybody is a destination viewer here. Some are passive viewers, and maybe we talk to insider sometimes. So I like to go back and refresh what everybody else is.
So Adam Kester, Kester Racing, MBR Engines. Adam is the
What's MBR Engines?
Minor Brothers Racing.
Thank you.
Adam Kester is the Midwest affiliate of MBR. Their Minor Brothers are based in California. Adam does a lot of their work here in the Midwest and does a lot for tractor pulling.
Absolutely.
Tractor pulling.
We saw him help with the Senseless and the Unlimited, and Brad Benedict struggled a little bit in Chapel Hill, and Adam came over and had parts and had the similar items that Brad was after, and it was a head gasket, and they were looking at things like that to keep Brad in the points chase. And I think Brad is currently in that points chase.
He's third.
I didn't quite recall.
Let's pull it up.
I was going to click on it because somebody online will throw me under the bus fast as all. He's third, 13 points out, still attainable, but he's lined up closely with that full-blown wicked of the Theobalds. 13th, they're tied for fourth, and then it goes to who is placed higher than another in the breakdown, falling down the chain.
Yes,
and,
yes.
John Dunlap, who does Omen's work on data and stats with the NTPA, fulfills all these sheets here going into the weekends for us that we'll utilize for stats and things like that. But what is your take on the facility and its growth over the years that you've been here?
So, just a little bit of history. I started coming here to Bowling Green when I was 6 weeks old. My parents, they had me, and they told my mom not to leave the house, and so they had to stay home. And then as soon as they got clearance to leave the house, they packed up the pickup camper and came to Bowling Green.
Packed up the bags and then moved to
Yeah.
Beverly.
Yeah, so I have been here. We're tape recording this here on the South Track at the starting line. I grew up on the South Track at the 300-foot line, playing in the dirt with toy tractors and yelling full pull. So
On the curve.
just before the curve, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, still on the straightaway, just past the winter circle, just east of the winter circle. So it is, Bowling Green's a special place to me. Just the growth of this place it's unbelievable. I mean, it's always been the biggest pull, right? But
Yeah.
it keeps growing and growing and growing.
The capital investment that they put back into it, expansion of campgrounds, expansion of facilities,
Yes.
Expansion of these other grandstands that, in what I was told, were temporary grandstands, obviously now permanent, that capital improvement projects.
Yes, so, I mean, when I started, I remember as a kid, we camped in what is now the pit area. You keep getting pushed back farther and farther, right? So they pushed that back. And then, when I was in college, we parked, in what is now campground.
Yeah.
So that
The
got pushed
expansion
back.
of the campground.
Yes, exactly. And now they've added more parcels to the campground again. I mean, it is just, it's unbelievable, the growth here at the National Tractor
The
Pulling
competitor in me won't let me stop looking at how they're prepping track and where lines are, where clumps are dirt or moisture points
Yeah,
are.
so,
but it's
Phil,
uniform from top to bottom. That's
right.
what I'm noticing.
So we talked about tonight,
Yes.
Phil, the competitor and you. Let's
Mhm.
talk about
Sure.
tomorrow. Your Super
Yeah,
Farm.
it's
you
an
pull tomorrow?
afternoon. Yes.
So we have Super Farms, diesel super stock 4-wheel drive trucks. We have the mini modifieds, light mods for their second hook. So we're going to crown a Grand National Champion in that class. And then the first appearance for the diesel super stocks as well. So...
And then the two-wheel drives go on break. So what I'm hoping is to reach out to you guys and those who might not be pulling tomorrow to come join us in the booth, join us in the broadcast, be part of our show, and give the viewers who are watching insider information, to give us the insight of you coming out of the seat because you might have your day off because of the way the schedule flip-flops.
Yes.
I'm going to reach out to a few guys, see if they want to hop in the booth. I think we have a great quartet tonight of Adam and I think Travis are going to jump in tonight for
great,
some analyzation.
Now, which... Adam Kester?
Oh, no. Tyler Slaw. Adam
Okay.
Kester and Tyler are coming
okay.
in.
Okay, great, great.
But they have that No Practice podcast,
Yes.
which is highly popular on our platforms. So I think people enjoy listening to them. But they have a great banter. But you'll be able to listen to them tonight and watch them tonight as we cover this event. But I want to reach out and I want to get more poolers into our booth. I think we see that on our social media trends and the push and the popularity of it. I can talk, but I can just talk, right? I'm not really giving insight. As they come out of a seat or getting ready to get into the seat in the middle of a points chase, in the middle of an event, or in the middle of a win or a bad or good run, I love their insight.
Yes.
The pooler in me loves their insight as well as the fan in me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The insight they share is great. And, as we talked about earlier, every Grand National class gets 2 hooks. So Friday night, let me...
I was going to say, is that you or me?
It is me. Hold on.
No, it's quite all right. So, Darren Hartwell is committed here to the fairgrounds and the National Tractor Pulling Championship, so he has obligations beyond our obligations of doing this live show right now. So he steps away to make sure he fulfills those. As I don't. I'm here for you, but I have a vehicle that will set up, and I've got a great group of guys in McFarland pulling team, Brad and Shane and Jason Bishop and Bishop Trucking, who come out here and help support me so I can be here to be part of this program, as well as they'll take care of my stuff. And then I'll lean on the UD pulling team and Chase Richardson, as well as Schultz and the Remedy and those guys to help get my vehicle up here onto the track and off the track so I can join you guys in the broadcast. I want to be able to tell the stories and show you that emotion that those guys are having as they come on and off the track. But if you have something you want to hear about, you want to learn about, you want to ask about, reach out on our social media channels. But while you're doing that and you're perusing the social media channels, don't forget to check on the full pull picks. They're out now. The light super picks, the current pull total is $1,000. And when we look back, and that's just the base number of when you get into these picks of where the value is in your wins. Earlier this year, $653 in payouts to a single person. I think we've done that multiple times. This is for Session 1, Thursday night. We are here in Ohio, Bowling Green, Ohio. And, I mean, we've got 6 classes to pull from, right? It's 6. No, it's 5.
5.
How did I get that wrong? I included Diesel Supers just because they ended up in my lineup.
Gotcha. Yes. So 5 classes tonight. Bill, I do need to step off.
Fire away.
I need to go, so I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for letting me join you, sir.
Thanks for joining me.
All right, good luck tomorrow morning if I don't talk to you. And
I appreciate
have a good broadcast tonight.
You might have to bring my tractor across the scale. Take the announcer's booth down there with you. Bring mine across the scale. I'll step out. I'll hook it. Or, if you win enough in your full pull picks, you can buy my ride. Just saying. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for lending us a little bit of time.
Enjoy the show, the 57th Annual National Tractor Pulling Championships presented by Maxim Tire here in Bowling Green, Ohio.
See, that's the tag that I like, and I just don't have that announcer voice that Darren brings to the table. He brings stats, insight, history, is what we call like the housekeeping tidbits of the 57th Annual National Tractor Pull. I don't have that voice, the showman. So we're going to let Darren slip back off into his showman role as the house announcer here at the Wood County Fairgrounds National Tractor Pulling Championships. As we're watching in the background, as you guys can see, tractors passing back and forth. But they do a full track walk here, which I think is impressive, and also a commitment to the competition surface. The guys are starting to roll it in now, pack it in. The drivers' meeting would be just wrapping up, but since it is the first one of the weekend, it tends to be extended. They have a lot more to talk about, and they talk about the logistics of the north side track and the scale being lined up and the hitch, the flat concrete hitch testing situation, and then getting warmed up, getting your helmet on, and getting on the track in a timely manner. With this quantity of vehicles, timeliness is of importance. But then you talk about the south track, and that scale is set out underneath the tree, and you circle around the end of that at the end of the facility near what would be the horse track during a normal fair events, and you come across the south end and enter through a gate, a hot pit area. Then there's a hitch pad where they'll test your hitch height to make sure you can adjust it the way you like, and then you enter the competition surface, and they'll stage your tractors. But they also use Silver Kings around here. It's a local brand name that was made and established and built here regionally. That some of these Silver Kings are beautiful. That we use side-by-sides a lot across the country. I tend to leave my side-by-side my own, and I enjoy the Silver Kings that come out and participate, and they're part of the club as well. And they volunteer their time. So, a big thank you out to everybody here in the blue shirts. Dave Schultz for having us. Our group at Full Pull Live. We're going to invite on, I think we have some military members and the sponsorship here because it is Military Appreciation Night. We're going to wait for Bert Forbes to come back and give us a representative, a recollection of what happened in the driver's meeting. But we're going to bring on and introduce ourselves at the same time to military members. This is Military Appreciation Night. Let me pull out a headset for you. What do you call your hat in the military?
It's either headgear or cover.
Cover.
Yeah,
cover.
You can call it cover.
My brother was in the military. He was a better man than me. Still is. So tell me about yourself. I'm just reading your name tag. Introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Okay, well, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Adair. I've been in the Army for 21 years. Originally from Ohio, so after the last 21 years living all over the United States and Europe, it's nice to finally be back on some home turf here, back in northern Ohio.
Had you come to this event and this venue in the past?
I have not. In fact, the first tractor pull I've ever been to was last year in Fort Recovery. So this is my second ever tractor pull.
Did you enjoy Fort Recovery?
I did. That was it was mind blowing. I remember at county fairs growing up, the tractor pull event back then was not what it is now, and so this was definitely eye-opening.
So as we got running in, Bert Forbes coming straight from the driver's meeting. You stay with us, though.
Okay.
But Bert, grab yourself a headset there. So straight from the driver's meeting, Bert Forbes. But tell me how you got involved in the Army and how you get others involved.
So growing up, I think, honestly, it had a lot to do with playing G.I. Joe as a kid and playing in the woods with my brothers. But at some point, I just felt like a call to duty. And when I was in college, there was an opportunity for me to join ROTC. And so I got my commission through the ROTC program, and that's how I started my Army journey.
So your participation here, what does it include here at the National Tractor Pulling Championships in Bowling Green, Ohio? What does it include, your presence here on site this weekend?
So here we've got a setup on the opposite end of the track over there with our recruiters to educate the general public on what opportunities the Army offers, educational opportunities and career opportunities. So anybody wants to stop by, they can learn.
So like I can do 2 push-ups and win a koozie? I've aged out. I'm positive of that.
That sounds like a good game for Jason.
Oh, yeah,
Jason,
we're going to volunteer the guy who runs with us a little bit, Jason
right.
Schultz.
Yeah.
Maybe a push-up contest.
Maybe a pull. We have the deadlift.
Yeah.
Do we have the deadlift bar too? Yeah, we got the deadlift
So
bar.
you have an interactive.
Deadlift I might be able to do. Okay.
There you go.
You have an interactive, and I don't want to call it a fan zone because your idea here is recruitment, right?
Absolutely.
We have to fill the, I don't know the right terminology, but fill the rules and fill the lists that you're needing for to protect our country, as well as educational and employment opportunities, as careers and as a job. Like there's options there and where you could select or get situated within the Army.
Yes, you're exactly right. So the Army's got a whole host of opportunities for career fields. Career fields, obviously, people think of the Army, they think of combat roles, and so, of course, we've got those things. But we've got a lot of things that line up with other areas, including medical and STEM. We've got engineering, electrical. We've got medical X-ray techs, veterinarians. We've got all sorts of things that people can start with.
Because plausibly there are, I'm going to call it regional assignments, in-country assignments, as well as traveling assignments too. And it just depends on where you qualify, how you test in, or your desires as well on recruitment. And you've moved on, and now you're in the recruiting role now.
Well, and that was one thing I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
I have a family member that her whole entire, she's a doctor. She's had her whole entire college, all her expenses paid for by our military. And the thing about it is, she says it's one of the greatest things because not only did she learn what she wanted to, and because she couldn't afford to do it on her own, but she also gets to travel. I think she's in Hawaii now.
Yep.
So her game plan is to stay there for a little while.
Of course.
And then, kind of travel the world.
That was a good assignment, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Like when you get given like a transfer order or something, and you get like 2 to choose from, but there might be a third that you get taken.
So you
is
get
that
more
seniority
like
based?
you get more like 50 to choose from.
Oh, okay.
And they tell you they'll try to give you something in your top 10, but you might get something in your top 30. So, but there are opportunities all over, not just the United States, but Hawaii, obviously in the United States, but Europe. Like myself, I lived in Italy for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a great.
Can you make a good pasta yet? Or did you just buy it?
I just like to eat it.
You just yeah, absolutely. But it's great experience, great exposure, and growth as a person. Right. Like it teaches you what you can reach down inside and get out of yourself to achieve more.
Absolutely. And in terms of benefits, soldiers that are currently serving have the opportunity to use what's called tuition assistance, where like 8,000 soldiers a year earn a degree, either an associate's, a bachelor's, or even a master's or a doctorate, and the Army will pay for that while they're serving. Soldiers, if they come in with student loan debt, there's a loan repayment program. Once they serve honorably for a certain amount of time, they can get some loans repaid. And so there's all sorts of opportunities to line people up for education if they join the service.
So literally it's, and I like TGI Fridays, but the TGI Fridays menu is so large that you guys have placement and opportunities and repayment plans or sign-up bonuses. There's just a lot. So the best opportunity to know what's available to somebody, to think about their commitment to you, is literally to just come
knock on the door. Absolutely.
Come and talk to you.
We've got, of course, in this day and age, we've got the website, right? GoArmy.com. That's the website you go to. And that's where you pull all the information, and you put your information in there, and then somebody will reach out and talk to you. We've got local recruiting offices. Bowling Green has a recruiting office here. And so people can knock on the door, give them a phone call, and we're happy to answer questions and educate people on what the Army offers.
So I think you offer engineering, right?
We do. We have a host of different engineering fields, yes.
So it's not just combat related, though.
No.
We're talking about everything from sciences and medical facilities that somebody could use as a stepping off point and assistance. I always used it when you said you played G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I had an Airwolf helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And I always thought, I'm going to
Yeah.
fly that thing someday.
Yeah.
And then my dad told me, do you know what it costs to learn to fly? Sign up for the military. They'll
There you
teach
go.
you
That's
first,
right.
and when
That's
you
right.
retire from there, you can go fly the fun stuff whenever you get done.
Yep. You can
So,
be a Navy
do you
man.
have a favorite experience from your time being recruited? Think back, and I didn't ask you how long you've been
So over
committed
the
to
last
service.
21 years.
Yeah,
Ooh.
like
so
like
many
a
so many
50
good
cal and a
oh, man.
semi-auto 50 cal.
So firing weapon systems. I think we can start there.
the
So I started
grenade
Things that
thing.
go
Like,
boom.
started
yeah.
as an infantry guy in a Bradley fighting vehicle. So a 25 millimeter chain gun with a TOW Bravo
describe
missile
it to me
launcher.
more. I don't know what that
So
means.
a
Other
TOW
than it
missile
sounds
launcher.
awesome.
You get in the turret and you're looking through the optics, and then you push the button. The missile comes out the tube, and then you guide the missile through a wire all the way to the target till it hits the target. So that was probably one of the best.
That
ones.
was awesome.
Yeah, it's
Then the
really
fun
cool.
part when it just goes.
Boom, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah, that's
fabulous.
pretty cool.
But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for your commitment to the military and protecting us at home and abroad. So thank you very much. That's more of a commitment
Thank
that
you.
I had in the inner fortitude whenever it was
Yeah.
my turn to decide which direction I wanted to go. So I'm impressed by anybody that can sign up and commit that
Well, I
to our
appreciate it.
future.
And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys today. This is
We'd
great.
love to have you back. We're going to be here all
Okay.
weekend. So
We are.
Come on.
But we might send somebody down there. It's overcast. So if we can get this delayed, I'll get Bert to go out there, trip and fall. This won't be able to go on. We run down to your recruitment center that's beyond the 300-foot mark.
Yep.
And we do some push-ups, some pull-ups, or some deadlifts.
Yep.
I see your guys flexing in
Yeah,
the back.
they're over there, yep.
So I get it. Their commitment was bigger than mine of being able to commit to the military, but they're not committed enough to come on this side of
No,
the camera.
probably
Isn't that ironic,
I
right?
tell
Like,
you.
I can't stand on this
Calling
side,
you out.
but I can tell you,
Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to know who you are. It's
I'll
okay.
fight for your right to do what we can in this country, but
All right.
thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks
I
for joining us
appreciate it.
here on the
Thank you
set
very much. Nice meeting you,
of the Countdown to Pull Time show. You're watching us on YouTube channel and our social media channels. You'll have a chance to subscribe. Oh, my gosh. Challenge going. So may I tell them what this was? May I describe it? So a lot of times what you'll have is when military members are around and it's a sense of respect towards each other as well as camaraderie. They tend to be challenge coins, but they've taken on a life of their own. And this one is 2 guitars. And if I can read it to you, it's presented for Rocking the House. The Cleveland Rocks, and it's in association, with the Hall of Fame is here in Ohio.
Right,
I'm sorry,
right.
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is here in Ohio. So I assume their design and attribution is the Rockstar Battalion, U.S. Army recruit in Cleveland. But the challenge to the coin, is my understanding, is if I see him again or somewhere again, he can challenge me to shake hands, and I either have to present the coin back or owe him a beverage of choice or things like that. It's a challenge coin. So as you meet military members, things like that, they'll present you with a nice token such as this. And so this is a very respectful way of honoring. It is, right? And so
like
Schultz and the other guys who were joining us, Darren,
Yeah.
too bad they had to step
Yeah,
off.
I know.
But
We came out. I came in just at the right time.
yes, you did.
I mean,
yeah, you did. I'm going to set it here.
I missed like half the show already.
But let's go. I want to flash forward just a little bit.
Okay.
You came straight off the driver's meeting. Let's pull up a seat. I saw you jogging back. So the driver's meeting is near the tech barn, and it's truthfully a barn, but it's set up very nicely as we bring equipment in. You tow your stuff through the tech barn. They go through you nuts to bolts.
I promise you, when you get a tech inspection here,
Yeah.
it's not, okay, we're going to check your kill switch, and, everything else looks okay, your neck brace and all that stuff's good. They go from the front of that vehicle to the back. They were doing measurements, and I mean full-scale measurements in the four-wheel drive class earlier today. So it is a full tech inspection. They'll pump.
You sat in the driver's meeting. I had almost set my time with you to come and join us, but then I realized, driver's meeting, I want you afterwards.
Yeah.
So what do you take from the driver's meeting when you go through the tech barn? You went through the tech barn obviously already because your tractor, you have family or team taking up the scale. You're a late hook in the class.
Yep. Yeah, I'm 20th hook out of the 20 of the tractor. So
when you look at 20th or so hook position, and you're watching the track now, and you've come from the driver's meeting, you've taken in that information, what's going through your head?
So after driver's meeting, I found out that we're actually the third class. So it's light mods, and then you have the 40-some four-wheel drive trucks, and then our class. It's not often that our class runs last, so that'll be a little bit interesting. And now to be the last hook, that's really going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see what happens.
So I always like an underdog story, and you're no underdog, but I also like a great conclusion to a story, like an impactful conclusion. So what I'm challenging you with is that late hook.
I want to be able to stand up and cheer. Like, I've spent all day here, all evening here, and you're going to lay down a hell of a pass. Do you have a lump in your throat right now? Like when I say National Tractor Pulling Championships.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about the whole pull as getting in my head or anything like that. But last week or 2 weekends ago we pulled that Rockwell and we placed really poor. We had some issues and we definitely kind of got out of the points race a little bit. Now we're like sitting in 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
But we found out what was going on. We had an issue with the turbo, so at least we found out our issue of why we finished so poor. But so hopefully maybe tonight we can gain some points back and pretend it's like you're starting fresh, like it's 0-0 points to starts all over. Just don't even think about the whole point system.
And that's one thing, especially here with the track conditions and as large as some of the classes, just like those four-wheel drive classes, they can pack the ground in pretty tight if they develop a lane and they create that groove. So if you see where they've laid down a groove, are you going to try to get out of that groove and find some fresh dirt, or it just kind of depends on what the track conditions are at the time? What's kind of your game plan for tonight when you get up there as the last hook of the night?
Yeah, I'll kind of see what the track is doing. If there's a groove that everyone's kind of taken and it's only getting better and better, not getting too rutted up, then it'd be kind of hard to get out of the groove.
Yeah.
But
To pull a stunt.
Yeah,
like jump outside and
yeah.
come out of the box, track cross laner kind of thing.
But if everyone's struggling on the starting line, running the same path, then you have to try something different.
Yeah.
Your dad and you, how do you choose your lane? Is it a head signals? You're like, move the cone. Or is he analyzing more as you're literally belting down? In this scenario of Bowling Green, as we come up to the line, there's not a lot of time off the hitch height sticks to when they stage you to get up here and you're already strapping in and they're telling you to fire up. How do you come up with a different style game plan than we would if we were at a smaller event?
So luckily for this weekend, I have my brother here as well. He used to pull the tractor, our other one that we had. So at least I'll have another set of eyes on the track, and he can watch from the other end, and he can kind of tell us what his feedback is and what he's seeing. So that actually helps us quite a bit versus just having my dad and I.
So I really wanted you on the show because in my mind's eye, I would be nervous as a tack. I just would. I think you're not. Like, you have walked over here, you sat on a wall, chatted with guys.
He's cool as a cucumber.
You're not staring at the track, and I don't hook until tomorrow afternoon, and I'm already keep glancing over my shoulder of what my opportunities are or what it might change. You don't get that pressure.
No.
Did you work out already this morning? Like, you have a regimen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this afternoon I got a little workout in.
Are you superstitious with that regimen? If you miss and don't get your 9th rep in, your 10th rep in.
It just gives me a little more energy. Just don't feel as blah. I don't know. It's just good mood booster and energy
Keeps
level.
you fired up.
Oh, yeah.
So let's flash back into that driver's meeting. I see a squirrel and I jump on it. What did they talk about in the driver's meeting? What could you tell the guys at home? Is it just literally logistics and schedules?
For the most part, that was it. The big thing that they were kind of pushing tonight, especially as large as the field is on both lanes.
Yes.
We're looking roughly 140 vehicles between both lanes. So 70, a little more than 70 on this track and right under 70, I believe, on the other track. So the game plan is to try, and you heard Marvin. He was like, I want to keep it 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
Yep.
You're referring to Marvin Epperson, head of tech services.
That is correct.
Of NTPA.
That is correct. And that's what his pretty much game plan is. They want to get that show in, put on the best show we can, but also you don't want to be out here till 2 o'clock in the morning either waiting to hook. So that's the game plan. You got a whole rest of the weekend to get ready for. So
what session do you hook again? What session do the lights hook again?
Be session 4 Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
So you go from an evening hook, you get tomorrow off.
Yep.
Maybe I recruited you to be on the show on the wrong day. I should have recruited you for tomorrow because you had the day off.
Yeah, it's fine.
What will you go through this evening after? Or since you have all day tomorrow, will you go through filters, water injection systems, things like that? Like, what will your debrief be like flashing forward into Saturday afternoon to stay in that points hunt? Like, I'm looking at you're sitting 6th, but you've got enough space and enough people in the Grand National Points Chase to make up some distance back into that second place run and make a run at that Yield Express.
Yeah, so pretty much after tonight, we'll watch the video, see what we see on there.
Wait, you're going to watch that video on your Full Pull Live account? I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Gotta get that hooked up.
Yeah.
Usually my dad always gets a video, so we'll watch that. look at the data off the computer, pull the spark plugs tomorrow, and kind of go from there and see what we have to change for Saturday.
Gotcha.
But tracks change day by day.
Yeah.
Weather, everything, and now we got some variables with the rain. So
yeah, we're talking about a threat of rain in the area tonight. It's overcast, maybe late this evening, but we suspect. As Marvin's target was 2 minutes. Is that what he actually said out loud?
He said 2 to 2.5 minutes. That's where his game.
And we're talking drop the hook, go.
And he
stopwatch.
He basically wanted him as soon as that sled got back, and this is quote unquote, before that pin drops down,
sets back down.
Yeah,
rolling back.
I want you to be rolling out there, getting ready to hook up.
Gotcha. Is that a challenge here?
Yeah,
Does that become challenging?
Just got to be ready. Have your game plan, have everything set of what you think you got to do to set up your tractor and go.
So you've been doing this so many years, and you're so competitive with the Detonator Black. I'm going to fan guy it here a little bit. Has much changed on that tractor over the years in evolution of chassis or the way you drive it?
No, actually, since 2019 when I won our first points championship,
Yep.
we've had the same turbo set up the whole time. So after this year, we've been kind of not as consistent, but competition's getting a little bit better, and we actually might consider making a change for next year.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So just plausibly, and it's an evolution of the way technology is getting better.
Yep.
And when we start talking about technologies into our truck and tractor pulling, the engineering and the machining is no slouch. You almost have to be part-time scientist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know.
Everything keeps improving year by year.
Yeah, I think we use engineering as a term, and people are like, no, it's another level of engineering. It is not bolt a charger on, have your buddy weld some exhaust tubing and connect the two. We're no longer in that, especially in the light super, we're not in that category anymore. The refinement that you guys do of making sure the pressure side of a charger is smooth and is friction-free is just one element, let alone velocity versus volume versus vortex and the way the air is flowing.
Yeah.
Am I incorrect?
Oh, you're right.
I'm drawing straws at you. You're like, stop talking about it. I don't want to give any secrets away.
But here's the thing about pulling, and you've got to look at it from this perspective too. Just like with this little bit of moisture that we're getting here today, they've got the track somewhat open. They're getting it ready for here tonight. So that little bit of moisture, that's going to affect how you set your tire pressures, or just basically maybe how you come out of the hole.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you come out of the hole, I got the thing wide open, I'm ready to launch, ready to go, or are you going to kind of feed a little bit, let it build up, and just kind of feed into it? So that's just two of the little minor variables of what can happen here tonight, and especially you being later in the class, if you see something in those first 4 or 5, you don't have a lot of time to change it. So it's just pretty much an open ball game of what's going to happen.
So before I let you go, we start talking about weather, and your tractors, engines, are tunable via weather a little bit, right? Vaguely or generally, what can you do based on what I'm going to consider a cool night? Like later tonight, it'll be in the 60s, low 60s. It was 80 throughout the afternoon. I literally, my inner thermometer saying it's mid-70s with a little bit of a breathe, and I'll just hit the little weather app. But you guys use weather stations, and everybody in your class is using some sort of a weather station. Oh, it's saying it's still 80 degrees here. It feels a little cooler than that. How much adjustability is in it, and what are you adjusting in it? Is it a timing thing? Is it how much fuel or not fuel you're doing? What's available to you as a puller in that light super class?
Yeah, so it depends on how your tune-up is on your tractor.
Okay.
So if you're running it pretty close on the edge, you're probably going to have to run a little more fuel in it just because of you're going to add more horsepower and get more air. We're running a little more conservative, so we shouldn't have to make any changes. But if for some reason it did drop in temperature quite a bit, you just put a little more fuel in. Just change some fuel jets.
And what you're trying to achieve there is not get so hot,
Yep.
not melt pistons.
Yep. Because no matter what, you're going to have better air, good quality air coming in.
Okay. Do you have anything that we're missing on? That we're forgetting?
I think you're pretty good. I'm anxious to get out there because, tell you what, after Rockwell, I was sick to my stomach. I did not sleep very good Friday night because that was probably the worst pulling weekend I've had as far as placing. But yeah,
so you have redemption on your mind.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you've got 2 shots at it to make up a
Yep.
distance in the chase. You're sitting 6th on a pretty tight field.
Yep.
6th through 2nd are very tight, and you could fight that battle.
Yep.
So you've got redemption on your mind.
Yeah, I don't feel quite as confident as what I have been in the past because now these sleds kind of changed a little bit, and I thought I had them pretty well figured out. last year, and now this year we got 2 brand new sleds, and it's been a challenge. So I don't feel as confident as far as how to set the tractor up, but it's like anything, you just gotta learn it and figure it out. So
Have you expanded when you do your debrief and you have your tractor debrief book? Have you expanded your I'm going to say your pulling sled side from Von Bauer, and you guys are pulling the purple sled tonight. Have you expanded that information category?
yeah, so looking at all of our old results, our poorer results all came from these newer sleds. So we've always struggled with them. So that's been the challenge of trying to figure them out.
Gotcha.
We had all of our notes from the other sleds. We had it all figured out. We placed well. We knew how to set the tractor up, and now this is bringing a whole new challenge to us. So
Good luck to you tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a few more sponsors on. We're going to thank some of them. Adam, I appreciate your time and taking my text today. Most people did this. Not today. Too much. Not enough time. Too much pressure. So thank you for joining us. And good luck this evening.
Thank you.
Adam Spiegelberg in the Detonator Black Light Superstock. And it says that we have an update for you, and we will not.
We will not. We do not want to do it.
But we're going to join the Cowtails
Oh,
because it is just before the supper time.
hey, let me tell you.
Make sure they got a headset there for both of them. Join us.
Here, there's one, and let me grab another one.
Wait, this is an assortment.
Let me, okay.
Somebody.
So let me tell you what I was told by my wife.
Brownie.
So we went to the Interly a couple years
Honey
ago,
bun.
and you had your Cowtails display set up. And I don't know how many Cowtails we bought, but we bought quite a few. And she said, if the Cowtails display is there, you have got to go get me some more Cowtails and get me a Cowtail cup. Like,
But where else could he get them?
Everywhere.
Exactly.
Everywhere.
Come on.
okay,
When they're free, they're
I think I just took one of each. Is what I was after.
Okay, look at the flavors
For the display.
Now, the classic, no doubt, the strawberry smoothie and the caramel is the classic. But y'all have an Oreo one too.
We did for a while.
You did, okay.
We don't have that one anymore.
He was braggadocious on me on that one.
Man, I was telling you, I was like, dude, you got to get hold of these.
There might be a cookie one coming out in the future, but we don't have it right now.
That's a
Look
good
at
tip.
Yeah.
I would have buttered up to you many weeks ago. Many weeks ago. Put you on the Christmas list. I would have done.
There's still time. I'll give you my card.
Okay, perfect.
1895, we bought a chewing gum company, the Baltimore Chewing Gum Company. We made chewing gum before Wrigley, actually. And
wow, okay.
there
So I
were-
think history like that is super interesting to me.
it's a really cool story. Sometimes I even think, like, how did we get here? And we couldn't get chicle back then. Gum was made with a chicle plant, like a rubber tree, and we couldn't get chicle. And so my great-great-grandfather said, well, now what do we do? And he started playing with other confections, and caramel was one of them. And he actually didn't make it right, and he made it with wheat flour, not knowing what he was doing. But
Okay. It worked out.
130 years later, he made the right decision because it's
It worked out, yeah.
It worked out. So now all we make is caramel. And the original item is the caramel cream, the bullseye, the twist wrap with the white center.
Yep.
And the original Cowtails is 40 years old this year.
Wow.
I remember when we put that on the line, and everybody's like, "You'll never be able to sell this."
So how do you surmount against that type of pressure? That won't sell. That's not going to be. How do you know how long you're going to commit to a product? And you just mentioned there might be another flavor coming out. Commit to the product before you realize, let's put that back in the bag.
Well, there's a lot of big confectionery manufacturers, and retail has changed, and there's Amazon of the world. But frankly, you go to the previous generation. I went to my dad and said, "Trust me, this is what we're going to do." And he said, "Boy, you're crazy." And actually, it was a little before me, but and you just stick with it. And we ended up putting in these cups, and it just went crazy.
He mentioned that. He's like, "I buy a cup of tails."
Yeah, that's
yeah.
when is the last time you've had a Cowtail?
Oh, well, actually, I visited in Rockwell.
Okay.
Rockwell, they
I
came
just
to
wanted to
visit
make
with a few of the originals. They have a display, and you guys do an activation area here on site. You have a
we
tent.
do.
Where's it set up on the midway at the National Tractor Pulling
We
Championship?
are right on the turn down in there.
So
right
just
by
beyond the 300 outside, and I think there's a milkshake person,
Yes,
a
we're
local
right next to the
milkshake stand,
milkshake.
and I don't
Yeah.
remember if that's a Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts milkshake stand, but it's
We're
a
right
fan
next
favorite.
to the milkshake stand.
Yeah.
And we got a trailer now over in the campground, which we always wrapped a truck and did crazy stuff. So when the sun goes down, we go 2.0 over in the campground.
You're a local product, though. I think you're
Maryland.
packaged out of Maryland.
Maryland. We make
And then,
everything in the United
what do you
States.
guys see on your horizon?
Trying to figure out how to make more of this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think there's so many items out there, and there's so much excitement about candy and confection. but everybody seems to go back to these heritage and legacy brands. And I think, our story of Made in America, we source our ingredients, everything that we can. Obviously, there's cocoa powder in there, chocolate. There's no cocoa trees in the United States, so that stuff doesn't come from here. But our first ingredient is wheat flour, and we get our wheat flour from Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York. So, and our milk all comes from Wisconsin, a family business out of Wisconsin. So I think that, we've always been American-made, even when people said we're kind of nuts. And we said, no, we're going to source our packaging from the U.S. And I think with everything going on in the world, as crazy as it is, people want to come back to U.S. brands that are family-made. And
I absolutely agree.
It's a great product,
and know that we're cultivating an enrichment of family-oriented businesses.
Yes.
I haven't let you talk yet.
Well, I wanted to let him talk because this is rare that he's out.
That's what I thought, too.
I was like,
That's what I thought.
I'm usually drinking beer in the
together.
truck, eating cowtails, but Megan's like, you got to put a hat on and come sit down for this interview. So
it's only the four of us talking. So do you like jam caramel across and like how am I getting that creamy center? Like some days I want to take an X-Acto knife and peel it open and eat the center out like an Oreo and then eat the caramel, the exterior.
So I'm just going to open this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go stand in front of the camera because people need to see how this thing is.
It's
One
magic.
of my favorite things about this is when you bite into it, you get that cool cream right there in the middle.
That's why the apple delivers on caramel apple. It has a
Trade
red
me.
center.
Trade me for
Yeah,
that apple.
That
Yeah,
apple.
that apple.
that
I don't
is-
even know if I've tried an apple. But what else? What I noticed is you have product date stamping, best if used by. But to me, it looks like these were just made maybe just a week ago.
Yeah,
like
these
literally
were
shipped to you,
just made,
packaged
yeah.
up, and came in.
Well, we always say if we could sell them as fresh as the day we make them, we could sell 10 times as many.
Yeah, I'm excited
But
about the product and your contribution to the sport.
We would love
What
being
drew you
here.
to the sport?
Well, so years ago, my dad used to watch a lot of rodeo.
Okay.
And this was before Wrangler and all the big sponsors were involved, and it was just good old guys, riding bulls. And he said, Mitchell, I think we need to sponsor the rodeo. Maybe put a cowtail logo when we first came out with this on the cow's rear. And I said, Dad, I don't know about that. And so we passed, even though I just went to the rodeo in Red Lodge. Love all those people. And Megan, I think, heard about the tractor pull, and tractor pulls have been around. And we said, look, this is kind of like a rodeo. And it's our people. This is what we do.
The demographic.
We love doing this stuff, and I have a small farm, and so I'm into this stuff. And we started sponsoring the tractor pull. And COVID screwed us up a little bit, so we haven't been here for 2 or 3 years, but we're back. And we're
glad to have you.
sport. And we're thrilled to be here. It's awesome.
Miss Megan, do you have anything?
Oh, I just want to say that we absolutely love to be back. So this is exciting to be back for 2024 and beyond.
So if you put a box of them into the Make-A-Wish auction, I think they'd be a hit. For no other reason than some of us are just looking for the right donation for to pay off our crew with, who's helping us through the
We
week.
could put together something nice and big as an auction item. And make sure we
It
raise
can be
some money
small
for
too. No
Make-A-Wish.
worries. Sometimes we're just looking to donate because the Make-A-Wish, my understanding, their auction is Saturday afternoon, and their contributions to the society and civic organizations as a whole are a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
But I might
Absolutely.
buy that box off you just so I can donate it back so somebody else can
I'll
buy
give
it
you
back
that
to make
box.
a donation.
I'll give you a couple
You
boxes.
don't have to, Mitchell.
I'll
I
give you a
appreciate it. You don't
box.
have to. You guys do it on your behalf. But thank you very much for joining us here.
Thanks for having
We're going
us.
to kick forward into the showtime. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
your
us.
insight.
Thanks for
And
letting
it's
me
great
tell
to
the
see
story.
you
Definitely
again.
appreciate it.
Thank you for being a part of it.
Enjoy.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care, guys.
I'm going to keep one of each flavor, and we're going to set them out here on our desk. Because I know Tony, our camera guy, and Ellie, and Scott out in the center, they all love your cowtails. And this is my way to taunt them until I have to actually, they can taunt me back. That's the best part of it. So we've got another sponsor coming up on. Pull up a seat here, Bert.
Come on.
Grab the headset right there. Join us. Slide in close.
Either one. Get in close, yeah. I took a shower yesterday, so I'm good, yeah. So
Yesterday is what he said. Yesterday. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everybody. Derek Bargy. I'm here on behalf of AP1 Insurance and Premier Crop Insurance.
Absolutely. So I've used your services in the past. You guys have a wide breadth of services that you guys offer to the public, as well as your target demographic, which tends to be in this area of truck and tractor pulling.
Correct.
What are the services that you offer to pullers like me, as well as farmers and everyday persons?
Yeah, so our AP1 Insurance focuses on motorsports.
Yeah.
And we started here with, obviously, truck and tractor pulling because that's our roots. We
Right.
grew up doing that. So there was a need that we felt like that was underserviced, and we were looking for insurance, and we come across this company in Indiana, and we partnered up with them, and now 10 years later, we're over 300 policies, and continue to grow every day. I mean, it's crazy. The word of mouth and everything. We try to, again, it comes down to servicing our customers. So we have a great product that we put out there. So again, we're insuring the motorsports vehicle.
Yes.
Off the track.
Yes.
Not going down the track.
So if it slings a ride, you can't help them.
Correct. Mechanical failures never covered, whether it's right here or in the barnyard.
Right. Okay.
But we will cover items that maybe go up in a fire. A trailer fire, barn fire. When you're traveling to and from the events, we put so many miles.
Yes.
In the summertime, if there's an accident, we had a customer hit a cow at 2 a.m.
Oh wow!
So we also not only insure the pull and tractor or whatever vehicle, we also insure the whole toter home. We can do from bumper to bumper on the toter home and the trailer and everything like that as well.
How do they get a hold of you?
So they get a hold of us.
Yeah.
agprotect1.com.
Okay.
Or you can just call me directly. 937-620-4960.
Wait, you just did that to our live audience?
That's right.
What was that again?
937-620-4960.
So they can get a hold of you directly and say, I have a farm stock tractor that I pull on a gooseneck, but it's valuable enough to me. I want to protect it every time except for once it starts to shut off.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're estimating a value, an insurable value.
Correct.
And you guys send some photos in, some things like that, and some parameters of where it lives, where it stays, and how it gets trailered, things like that. Simple things. But you offer more products than just the motorsports product. And correct me if I'm wrong, you were a puller for a lot of years as well.
Well, still
yeah.
Don't throw me out like that.
Yeah, give him the boot. Yeah, he's an insurance guy.
I'm
give
done.
him the boot.
I will be driving tonight. I'm going to try to redeem myself tonight.
So
okay.
What are you driving tonight?
I'm driving the Judge. The Rhino Ag Judge, Next Generation, and the Unlimited class. We're just, we're just going to play with them. They're going to, we'll be in the back, but we have things we'd hope to accomplish.
You never know.
Absolutely. So it's Bowling Green, and I think if I remember right, there were 9 or 10 in your class. You're the second hook on this track right here. So when you walked out, did you analyze it a little bit?
I was looking. Looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Looks like
it
BG.
does. Looks like a great surface.
So back to, yes, we also offer other services.
Thank you.
With AP1, we also do rain insurance. So an event like this, any outdoor event, we can have a rain policy to cover any certain amount of rain that you want to forecast for, from a quarter inch, half inch to an inch, whatever amount of money you want to put up, $50,000 down.
That you want to, and let's say, protect.
Exactly. Whatever you want to protect.
I had a $100,000 event. Let's just to make myself soluble so I ain't got to go to the poorhouse when it's over. I only want to protect 50,000 of it.
Correct.
And then we talk about what the percentage is to cost to protect that versus on what would put me out of business for the night, inhibit sales or ticket sales or the event accomplishing.
Any, the rain shower is going to hurt you the worst, in my opinion, is something, leading up to the event. Once the event starts, it starts, and whatever. But, that
5 o'clock.
Yeah, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock shower. That just, you may only get a little bit or whatever, or even if you get something at 2 o'clock, then you can manage it. But that'll help protect those people that, it rained, we're not going now.
Yep.
Right.
So that goes for any outdoor event, not just, truck and tractor pulling.
Right.
Circle track racing, golf outings.
Yes.
We do actually a lot of golf outings.
Okay. Yeah, because the output of the funds that you're putting up to make a successful golf outing, which tends to be charitable items and golf outings, charitable donations, we don't want to inhibit their chance to give away civically to their their items or the things around town. Yet I had a policy with you for years. I said had because I did let it lapse. So we'll have to text after this event. But I had for years protected my tractor as it went down the road, and I felt like the financial investment it was important to me, as well as local fairs if you're listening, and local events, local golf outings. They can reach out to you and discuss what it takes to protect your financial investment in case of an inclement weather event.
Correct.
Mostly rain, which would inhibit ticket sales and on-site productivity of an event.
Yeah, it's so again, it's going to just protect that. What is your baseline? And again, it's a build. It's a la carte. You can build it to fit your budget. If you don't, we're going to quote it. You don't like it. What do we have to change to make it?
And you work with an underwriter, so the communication has to flow. It takes a little bit of time, but not long, is what I remember.
Yeah.
It was a packet. I think I forgot to send it. I think you guys sent it to me in like an e-doc, and I don't even know all the terminology. And I literally just had to click, 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 and I was done.
Yeah.
It was a very simple process. The evaluation of it.
He's got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was click, click, click.
Well,
and
you
done.
already got his number. I mean,
I did. It's actually in my phone. Yeah,
Okay.
it absolutely is.
So you can get that straight. So
I just need to clarify it. Yeah, until it's in front of me like a cow tail, I tend to forget about it.
There's a lot of people that do that. You
Yeah.
know, I live just south of Eldora Speedway, so I go up there a lot and just walk around and talk to everybody. And there's so many people. Oh my gosh, we got to call you. And I give them. I said, well, do you have give me a business card? I will definitely follow with you.
Yeah.
Because when it's
Absolutely.
out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, yeah.
I understand. Then when
And
the winter
you
time
don't
comes,
necessarily think about it either, because you kind of, especially up until recently, the last few years, stuff is more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have just a simple battery explode or something on your vehicle, it can mess up a bunch of stuff in a heartbeat.
Exactly. We had a customer after a year with us. He called. He goes, Derek, I'm so sorry. I got to do this. Got to turn a claim in. I'm like, hey, that's what we're here for. Don't apologize. His engine was in somebody else's shop. That shop burned down. The owner of the shop had 2 pulling vehicles.
Oh.
One of them got burned up in that, but the other one was going, thank goodness. And so, he had an engine in there. We turned the claim in. We showed receipts and estimates of what it was going to cost to replace what he lost.
Yeah.
And he had a check within a month for $40,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming out. Will you join us later in this weekend, Sam?
Yeah, just let me know. We're going to be, let's see, we're in session. We're pulling tonight. We're pulling Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to lighten it up, add an engine, take an engine off, right?
Well, we're not taking it off.
Okay, you just don't run it.
No.
How does it work?
So the judge...
I just extended this conversation.
Yeah, that's okay.
Totally.
So,
this is good knowledge, though.
Yeah. So it's set up to run the mod class.
Yes.
So we're under horsepower tonight in the Unlimited.
Yeah.
We're just going to, we're here.
You can throw
Why
it in
not?
the wind anyway.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just light her up and go. Just light it up and
Ricky
go.
Rosen to giddy up. Yeah.
There you
The
go.
same thing. Yeah. Like going to light it up and go. And he make competitive hooks at the same time. But I wanted to touch base with you, and I want to try to get 2 to 3% off my premiums. So I want to have you back on. Thank you very much. I appreciate AP1 Insurance. And it actually, as you rounded the corner, I thought, man, he looks familiar. And I saw the shirt and was like, oh, that's what I didn't do this
funny
season.
because it was one of the first hooks this year. I think it was at Benson. And
Yeah.
they kept talking, and Jason was just hitting you on you, and man, I was like, he kept saying PK, and then he finally said, he put your, and I looked
Phil
up.
Kelly.
I was at home, and I looked up. Well, I'm like, I knew him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was like, I just didn't know him well.
I didn't want to do it live.
That's all right. All these people are my friends. You should see the texts in the social media comments they leave. I guarantee you they're all my friends.
I was going to put it to you, but not off.
I don't mind.
It's okay. Yeah,
I can take the hit. Yeah, the old farmer kid in me takes the hit. But join us next. Come on up. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. AP1 Insurance. They insure my pulling vehicle and a lot of pulling vehicles across the country. Sorry about that. We'll slide them down the table.
Those are probably going to disappear now.
Yeah. They're going to walk away on us. See how they are. So, Jay, they're just looking after us.
Yeah.
So, you joined us. Are you ready for the abuse?
I guess.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So tell me how your product is performing so far this season in your eyes.
I mean, I think we've got a very good product, and everybody does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think one's just light years better than the next.
Yep.
The big thing that we've had to go through here over the last about 5 years, we've had, and it's made it really hard getting all the work done, is we got a new tire out this week, and then,
Wait, this week?
Well, not just so much this week, but I mean it's
recently.
Yes, right. So you had the Pro Polar full poles come out, and then a year and a half later we had the whole shots, and now then the METOS, and then the Parks, and it's just when you have a clientele list of about 500, it's hard to get everything pushed through.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. So introduce yourself to our audience. I apologize.
Chad Mayhill, owner of CM Pulling Tires, been in business 20 years here this year.
And so some of the most competitive cuts and what I'm seeing in the Super Farm are coming out of your shop.
Yep.
How do you decide? I mean, we're talking about cuts, where the way the tire lays, whether it's peaked or swooped, and then how tall that ridge is, how it lays back, or it leans forward. There's so much engineering in it. I don't want you to give up trade secrets, but I want to know more.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of keep it basic.
Okay.
I'm not one to go spend somebody's money and say this is going to be better, because I don't know. There's so many variables in this that we probably got 2 different cuts that we do in about every class.
Okay.
And we've always used what they call the KISS method: keep it simple, stupid. And
okay.
It's in and day out. That's about the most easiest way to do it, I guess.
If it works, why change
that's
it?
what
exactly.
in your business structure of how you do your tractor tires, you found that has been beneficial to your clientele.
Yeah, it's like the Pro Stocks. I mean, out of, I don't know, probably 125 pairs of Metosses we've sold in the last couple of years, I got 2 basic cuts.
Okay.
And that's all there is.
And then it's a matter of the puller figuring out how to get it to hook to the ground. And we're talking air pressures, gear ratios, weight and balance.
Yeah. It's just it's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Is all it is.
So I bet after some hooks you take some quite abuse.
Mondays are not good days.
Right. Because
there's one winner and
yeah. Right. So we look at a class, there's 37 not winners.
Yep, for sure.
Competitors, but they're wanting to know how can they do better. And so you're an open book when it comes to finding out insight and maybe direction. Like every tractor is different, every truck is different. But you're going to say, my understanding, they're running 3 to 7 air pressure, 3, or the tractors are running down to 3s, up to 10s.
Yeah.
You're giving generalities, but you're not going to give so much details. This guy, listen to him. I thought we had security to the track side, but you'll give them guidance in what you're seeing, right? In your experience,
I'll give them within about a pound window.
Oh, okay, even closer.
Yeah, I mean, and especially like on a super farm that's in that 4 pound range.
Yeah,
a pound is 25%.
Oh,
yes. So that's a pretty big drastic change to where in a 2-wheel drive where they're up in that 15 range, it's that's the percentage is way less. So yeah, it's just and it's all educated guesses. I mean, I'm not saying know everything. It's just I know where everybody else is running. This is probably the vicinity you need to be in, and go from there.
And we're talking about bite, like the way to get that tire to ripple, claw in. And we recently, and what will happen in the Make-A-Wish auction, Ken Venny has one of them metal prints that's in it, and the ripple coming off of his tire, you can just see how well it's biting as he's driving off the line. Do you analyze that kind of stuff in some of the videos, like jog them forward, jog them backward to see that drive off?
And we've in the mini rod class has been a struggle here for a few years with us. So in 2017 we bought out Pioneer Tire Supply, which was originally the Dick CPEC, and so we was getting a bad rap of, well, your tire's coming apart, you need to do this, you need to do that. So we went to the drawing board in 2019 and say, we need to do a compound change. So we do that. And so when it started, we was in Indiana, Pennsylvania at the STA plant there. Well, then when we come out with a harder compound, we end up transferring everything to their other plant in Unicoi, Tennessee.
Okay.
Well, when it went down there, we changed from a sheet process to a strip process.
Okay.
And it adds 10 to 15 pounds to the tire. I'm like, guys, we can't do that. That class is like over
10 pounds is like a ton.
Yeah, that's big to them guys. And honestly, it took me until this last winter, in about 5 different changes that we made, they wanted to do like little steps, and it's like, no, you need to drastically change this whole program. And finally, I think now we're on the right track to where it's giving some weight, the tire's being forgiving again. But there's a lot of people that spent big money and went and bought old CPECs and Pioneers. I mean, Jeff Hertz probably got 2 semi-trailer loads of tires because
on the shelves.
Yep.
We had a puller down in North Carolina that actually saved a pair of old Dick CPECs from the late 90s and brought them out to the NC State Fair last year because he had gone through every other compound, but he knew those would work.
Yep.
And they worked for one pass, and they peeled right apart.
Yep.
How did they get a hold of you, Chad? Chad, Mr. Mayhill, because I'm just looking for like a 3% discount on my next purchase.
Yeah, whatever. So we're on Facebook.
Okay.
I don't
use the social medias as your website channels.
Yes,
to
we
find
do have
you.
a website, but it hadn't been updated in years because of the social media side of things. I don't get on Messenger.
Okay.
So Kelly in the office, she takes care of a lot of that stuff, getting back.
So call the shop, email the shop.
So the main phone number is actually my cell phone. So
okay.
And there's our voice recording is people get upset because I don't answer the phone, but if I'm over working on somebody's stuff, we're behind. I'll call you at the evening when I'm winding down.
Absolutely.
But shoot me a text message, phone call, whatever, and we can.
What made CM get into pulling?
So actually, started pulling garden tractors in 1993. I was 11 years old.
Gotcha.
And we done that, and so we had a pair of tires that set at Bob Parks from when we had an Engler chassis mod, and they'd set there for about 3 years. And Tim goes, hey, I just built this machine. I went to Ronnie and Jeff up at J&L Puller Tires. Well, Crescent City was only 55 miles from Reynolds. And so I wasn't even old enough to drive. It was actually Roger Lowry's father would take us over there to get tires, and I would ride along. And Ronnie and I were become really good friends of it. Heck, one year at the Illinois State Fair, I pulled his antique for him. And he had a stroke in '04, and Jeff was still, the other owner. And he goes, I think we're probably going to sell out. And so in '04, we bought him out.
Okay.
And,
so legacy business in truck and tractor pulling, here to stay.
Yep. We're not going anywhere. We're here to give to our customers and everybody that's got us where we're at. So
thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being a
Thank you.
contributor.
Yeah,
Thanks
too.
for being a sponsor of the NTPA and the classes here at NTPA. We're going to kick forward. Our live show kicks off at 7. We're going to wrap it up. Oh, we have one more. I'm sorry. I wasn't aware. I thought we hit them all. So come on over. My apologies. I didn't see you sitting there. Go to introduce yourself. Tell the millions and millions of fans at home.
Well, I'm Russ Yoder from Yoder Popcorn, Shipshewana, Indiana, and I drive the Extra Butter Pro Stock.
Russ, so what made you choose to sponsor that Pro Stock class? Because you're a class sponsor of the Pro Stocks.
Yeah. Well, it's always was a dream of mine to be in the Pro Stock class to begin with, and they had asked me. NTPA came along, Daniel came along, and asked if I would be interested in being the class sponsor. So I was like, you know what, I can. And at our trailer, and also at Carlin Motorsports, right next to us, they have a tent there with Extra Butter on top of it, and where they sell our shirts there. As far as getting a hold of us, either look at yoderpopcorn.com on the web, or better yet, come to our retail store there in Shipshewana, Indiana.
Yeah. I always stop by whenever we do that indoor hook out there, that's off season, and stop in and I think we had spoke earlier this season about how you can watch on your security cam, which we want to actually get a copy of. As guys walk in the door, it's a veer left for the dudes, and it's a veer through the concessions and the products you have available in your storefront.
Yeah, so during the off season, we have our tractor inside there, and they have the hood up. So most times, all the guys go take a look at that, and the ladies go on to shop. So,
what made you decide to be in Pro Stock as a class? There's always tiers and things and goals for people.
Yeah.
What made you target that?
I think just being a farm kid and a farm boy, like diesel is something I always wanted to be in. And it was always one of my favorite classes growing up. Back home, we used to have Bill Voorhees was just down the road from us with the Orient Express in Argus, Indiana. And that was my favorite tractor growing up. And we also had another local guy with a Pro Stock, a couple local guys with Pro Stocks. And this was back in the 90s when they were nothing like they are today. But and then an opportunity came up for us to get this chassis bought, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. We ended up with the Shipleys doing our power plant, and everything just kind of came together.
Tim and Josh.
Tim and Josh.
Yeah.
Shipley, yeah.
So I only repeat it sometimes because we talk because we know the names, and I want those people at home to recognize who they are and what they're providing. So they're an engine service manufacturing, or what would you call them, an engine builder company?
Well, they do a little bit of everything now. They used to just be more engines, but now they're making parts for rear ends, differentials. They're making their own connecting rods and pistons and everything like that.
Oh, okay.
But actually, Kyle Carlin and his dad Gary built the chassis itself, built it really well. I love the chassis. And then the Shipleys came on board with us as far as the motor program back in 2018, the year after we bought it. So.
If you had to sell enough popcorn to buy the next part for your Pro Stock, how much popcorn would we need to sell?
Oh,
2 tractor trailer loads or just one?
It's just stupid how much stuff costs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a competitive and expensive sport.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, more people could get into it if it wasn't quite so expensive, but it just is what it is. There's other classes that are less expensive if you don't want to spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. I knew I would never probably be satisfied if I started at a lower class.
Okay, yeah, just something with less horsepower.
So I just thought, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to jump into it, and we're going to go for it. So.
Well, Russ, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a sponsor of that Pro Stock class.
Sure.
I'm going to go get some extra butter,
Yeah.
which is Russ's personal favorite, my understanding. Microwave versions, pre-pop versions, plain and raw, and the kind you can put in oil, like the old school skillet style. But we're going to wrap up here. This is your countdown to pull time. If you're watching on the social media channels of Full Pull Live, you'll be able to get a free teaser, if I can talk the technical crew into it, of a few hooks earlier tonight, starting on the far track.
Oh, yeah. Starting on the far track?
Yeah.
What do we got starting on the far track?
The far track, so is supposed to be, if I remember right, light mods.
Light
and on
mod.
this side will be two-wheel drives and a pile of two-wheel drives.
66 of them.
We'll give you a teaser on that class, but you'll be able to subscribe $39.99 to your live streaming events. Don't forget to set your picks on the Full Pull Picks, but you can tune in on Full Pull Live. Thank you guys for joining us from the National Tractor Pulling Championships. Here comes the live show coming at you. I think opening ceremony start at 6:30. We've got a great anthem from Miss Abby, and I think her last name was Miller. We hope to catch up with her later this evening. That was an awesome rendition. Catch you soon.
Attention all blue shirts. If you are available, please make your way to the starting line for opening ceremony. Attention all blue shirts, crew members, drivers, anybody that can help with the American flag is more than welcome down at the starting line. Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages. I know there's a bunch of children out here because we act like it when it gets 11 o'clock tonight. But this is the 57th Annual National Tractor Pulling Championship. Welcome to PullTown USA! What a night that we have in store for you. Don't look at Mother Nature right now. She's not going to do anything. It's just cooling us off and keeping the dust down. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight is family night, so I'd like to welcome all the families that brought their kids out here to see the spectacle that will happen on the North track. It is also Military Appreciation Night. So ladies
against all enemies,
and the state of Ohio against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the Governor of Ohio and the orders of the officers appointed over me to law and regulations. So help me God. All right, welcome to the Air Force.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Wow. Gives me goosebumps every time. Another thing that gives me goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen, and something that I'd like to share with these young men, if you've never been here to the National Tractor Pulling Championships, is a tradition that we carried on ever since 2011 when a fellow announcer called Mr. Pull himself, Keith Bradley, had passed away. Mr. Bradley was so patriotic over that red, white, and blue that he had always given us a speech, and excuse me, it's actually like a poem about the flag, and we're going to show that to everybody here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's honor Mr. Keith Bradley and the red, white, and blue with the ragged old flag.
Delaware, and it got powder burns the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it, writing, "Oh, say, can you see?" But it waved on through, and it got a bad rip in New Orleans when Packenham and Jackson took it on the scene, and it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on through. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. The south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II, and she hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam. Now they will not quit waving her here back home. In our land here, she's been abused, she's been burned or denied, refused, and the government for which it stands is scandalized throughout the land. She's getting threadbare and she's wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. Because she's been through the fire before, I believe we can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning and we take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground and we pull her up right. On second thought, I do like to brag because I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, to all our fallen heroes, veterans, and active duty that are here tonight, Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it gives me great pleasure to turn it over for over 20 years to give tonight's prayer to Chaplain Tony Kelly for Pullers for Christ.
Please allow me to pray. Father God, we thank you for these United States that you've blessed us to be able to live in. Father, we do ask you to continue to bless this country. Father, we ask that you give special blessings upon all those that are serving in the military to defend our freedoms. Father, we thank you for all that you do for us. We thank you for each one of the sponsors that have come aboard to make this event possible. We ask that you watch over and protect each individual on these grounds this evening, that we can have a safe, enjoyable night with Truck and Tractor Board. Thank you for all your mercies. In Jesus' name I pray.
And fans, presenting our colors here tonight will be the Toledo Correctional Institute.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, paid all the sun's command. With glowing hearts we receive thee right, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bowling Green's very own Evie Van Voorst to sing the Canadian anthem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's anthem, this young lady is 11 years old, going into the 6th grade. School has already started, and she traveled over 12 hours to specifically come here to sing for you. Mom and Dad on hand, Dad at home watching live. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the talented Allie Miller.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the barren they spy. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can guess by the accent, she is not from Bangor, Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, she traveled from Oklahoma just to do that. How about it? Allie, thank you so much for being a part of our opening ceremonies. Thank you to our military friends and also to our families that are here tonight. What do you think about that? That is great. Ladies and gentlemen, are you guys ready for Bowling Green PullTown?
So as we get things situated, we are about 6 minutes away from getting the tractors and trucks onto the track.
All right, here we are at the 57th annual PullTown first session with my beloved host, Mr. Adam Custer. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing good, doing good. We're excited to be here at easily the largest pulling event in the entire world. We've got action-packed classes coming to you. We've got 60 in our two-wheel drive class on the south side, followed by 10 unlimited. Adam, what do you got for us on the north track?
On the north side, we have the light mods. We'll have 14 of those. In the four-wheel drives, we'll have 41 of those. In the light super stock, we'll have 19. Should be an action-packed night, I do believe.
For sure. We've got 70 south side, 74 on the north side. It's going to be a race to see who finishes first. And we've got some pretty tight points races going on tonight.
Absolutely. That's we were kind of looking at some stuff here at the beginning of the show, and a lot of these points races are really, really tight. And with the amount of vehicles that they have at Bowling Green, it's easily can mix the points up in one hook. So
oh yeah, with so many competitors in each class. I mean, the two-wheel drives, for example, we've got Taz in first. Just 3 points behind him is second place with the barbed wire, and third, 6 points behind the leader. Tight points races all over the place for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even in a light super stock here, we're 3 behind in second place is Colton Whitworth at Yield Express, and then Brandon Phillips is 12 back. So, I mean, in one hook, man, if things go wrong, these guys are going to be right up there at the top. So,
absolutely. Beautiful opening ceremony, as always, here in Bowling Green. Second to none when it comes to that. It's quite special. If you haven't been here to this event, to be here, the sheer size of it, the amount of hooks and people signed up for the class. If you're going to go to a pull all year long as a competitor and you want to win one of them, this is it right here.
Absolutely. I think we all we do whatever we can to win this pull. You, myself, this is an extra special place, and it really means something to win such a huge crowd like this. And, this track, folks, for anybody that doesn't know, for the amount of vehicles that go up and down it takes some abuse. And I will believe we'll see some changes in the track as the night goes tonight, but it does usually stay pretty consistent all the way through. So
incredibly consistent for the amount of numbers and hooks that they put through this dirt. It's some special dirt, to say the least.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of sprinkling here going on at the beginning of the show. I don't think it's going to affect anything much at all. We just got a light sprinkle. It looks like they have good moisture in the track as we sit here and look at our first two-wheel drive is going to be rolling up to the starting line here very shortly.
Speaking of rolling up, we see the blue shirts out there rolling up that beloved American flag, huge flag on display here on the track, part of that beautiful opening ceremony. And it's quite special. If you haven't made it here, you got to make it here and take it all in.
Absolutely. I mean, the rendition of the Ragged Old Flag done by Mr. Keith Bradley, rest in peace, is very special. It sends chills through your body just to hear that man's voice and his emotion reading that. And, it really sets the bar high. It's usually a great, the national anthem is always sung very well here. And I think at some point in time we might be getting to talk to that young lady that just sang it. So we'll see what happens here tonight.
Absolutely. Backing up to the sled up there.
First on the north side, we have Todd Weiss, the Snow Farmer. Todd and his wife Tari both have vehicles in this class, very good running vehicles. Be the first guy to go down the track here at Bowling Green.
It's got to be special.
Absolutely, the first ticket after starting the whole weekend. But he's going to have that choice. He's going to make a run here, and we'll see. He has the option of dropping it, coming right back at the beginning, of the class, he can drop 6 or drop to the end.
And you can see him looking for the go-ahead from those track officials as he points. And as always, safety first. You see him put on that nut collar right before he starts bending the throttle on this. And Mr. Von Bauer walking out there to make sure everything's good as we see the chain tight on the sled. And we're giving him the send-off. Let's kick off Bowling Green. And I think we're going to see him drop that, Adam. What do you
Absolutely.
think?
Yeah, I think he came out of the hole a little bit hard there. You know, these things, you got to get that sled moving. So,
yeah,
just didn't seem like it really wanted to take off very well for him. And saw some ducks shooting out of the engine, probably hitting a rev limiter of some sort.
Yeah, I think the RPMs were pretty high as he came off the line there.
Yeah. So this is a new sled this year for the Bowers. It's shown a lot of promise with a lot of speed going down the track. So these guys are trying to really get after it out of the hole and see if they can get some momentum early. It just did not want to take for Mr. Todd Feiss right there.
Let's take a look at that replay. As we see him start getting into the throttle, you see those butterflies opening up. And like Adam said, shooting ducks, you see some raw, unburnt fuel out of the headers there, probably indicating we're getting up on the rev limiter, cutting out ignition. You can see Todd playing with the throttle. Right there, he's actually wide open. You see him backpedal it. And wow, I mean, you can see him throw up his hands, and that's no doubt him saying, I've got nothing left for this. I actually give him credit. He made more than... He's dropping his run. We're getting word right now. No surprise, of course. So we're going to see him come back at the end and take another stab at that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think I give him time to regroup. Who we got here on the south side?
And on the south side, our first hook is none other than Mr. Jamie Austin in the Salt Shaker Express, coming to us from Charleston, Illinois. He's going to start us off. Beautiful looking truck out there.
Absolutely, yeah. His late father, this was his truck when they built it. Beautiful paint job on it done by Nelson's Custom Paint. And very tough runner. We don't see him a lot across the Grand National Circuit, but this is I do believe they won the championship ring here one year. Can't remember the year.
As so many of these vehicles are in this class, definitely a competitor that's capable of taking away the win for sure.
And being, being the first hook in a two-wheel drive class, if the sled's set correct, maybe the bar to set, because he's got a fresh track here, and you can bet if he makes a really good hook, he's probably going to keep it, I would guess, but we'll just have to see. Jamie's a long-time puller. He can really feather it out, knows how to get the truck hooked.
Absolutely. We see him hooking up to that beautiful red Case IH sled of the Bowers, and he's going to get us started on the south track here. We'll see if he's going to like his pass a little bit more than Todd. Boy, I think that looked quite nice. I think I'd take that, Adam. What do you think?
I do believe so. I mean, fresh track. There you go, man. That's a heck of a hook. We got Hush Money here, which is... I think this is Russell Phipps's ride. Has a couple MBR power plants on there.
Yeah, those power plants look familiar to you, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So this is the first year for this tractor. They've had a lot of success at the ITPA with it, so...
And we're going to be, after that tractor, we're ending our free live stream on several different platforms. And so if you're watching, feel free to sign up and subscribe for Full Pull Live and catch the rest of this action. As we see a replay of Mr. Jamie Austin coming down the track here, I got to think he's going to keep that run. We see him carry the front end, even with the box topped, kind of indicating he's probably got that thing weighted just about right. We see him go 333.21. I would hope he kept that.
I would think so. And Mitchell Phipps here on the north side, kind of bouncy off the line there to start out with. Stayed in it. So I'm sure they're going to look at that track to see if it's going to be official or not.
Let's take a look at this replay. As he comes off the line, you can see that chassis twisting. Look at the tires almost coming off the ground as the thing's just getting up out of shape. And, I mean, that had to be a rough one from the seat. He's not happy with that, but he doesn't have that option like our test puller. So, unfortunately, even if it's not going well, he's going to just stick it out, make the best of it. And it did settle in towards the tail end of the pass there, and wasn't horrible.
Yeah, you got to think at 282, he just didn't get the momentum off the line like he wanted to. Is the sled set correct? It might be, but until somebody puts that perfect run together, you won't be able to tell till then.
Yeah, their second truck up in our two-wheel drive class is Mark Fryman in the alley cat here. Another sharp-looking truck.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that's awesome about pulling. If you get out to one of these events, walk through the pits, and you get to get up close to these vehicles, check them out in person. As awesome as they are to see on the screen, to see them in person is even cooler.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, all the different body styles, it really has that character to the class. As we see a little bit of sprinkles there on the windshield.
Yeah, perhaps indicating there's a bit of rain out there.
I think it's supposed to fade away here in the next hour, I would say. Obviously, if it gets raining pretty hard, they're going to stop. Wow, folks.
Yeah, we hear the motor tugging down on that truck pretty good at the end. Maybe chose the wrong gear, maybe a little bit of an issue in the power plant perhaps, but I got to imagine Jamie Austin's going to be feeling pretty good about his 333. So we see him leave the starting line, opens up that throttle, carries the front end somewhat, but maybe a little heavy on the nose, Adam. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. In this two-wheel drive class, man, they really try to keep the front end down so they keep maximum hitch height up, and just sounded like he ran out a little power at the end there, but gear change, maybe a couple degrees of timing in the engine can change that. Coming up again on the north side is Brent Payne with the Limitless. This tractor actually came from Europe, from the Bohr family, and they did a little trading. Brent Payne sent a alcohol superstock to Europe, and the Europeans sent this tractor over. First pass out of Brent won at Toma, so it should be interesting to see what happens here.
The Europeans are no strangers to this multi-engine mod class. They built a beautiful piece. It's definitely a good one to see.
Wow, folks, he smoked her out.
Are you kidding me? Was there a sled change or not? If there wasn't a sled change, to see Brent go out there and say, I don't know what you guys are struggling with so bad, I'm going to make this look awfully easy.
Right, he wasted no time on the throttle, folks. That thing was wide open from the get-go. It was a heck of a run.
And a run that had more in it. No doubt, he just pulled back on the throttle and just could have kept going.
Absolutely. Man, look at the sight. For people who can't see very well, there's holes drilled in the side of those frame rails for the extra lightweight.
Look at him just snap the throttle blades wide open at the starting line and goes an impressive distance of 374.7 feet. Carries the front end beautifully. We see the box top, and the front end just stays up on that tractor. Soars clear past the end of our track at 350 feet. As we see him get the red flag, he pulls back on the throttle, and he's thinking, I am quite pleased with that.
Yes, sir. That was a heck of a pass. You could see that thing was really locked in 1-1.
And coming up next on our south track, we've got Michael Martell in the hay shaker. Another unique-looking truck here, as we've got kind of a T-bucket body with a bit of a roof on it.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a sassy power plant there. The two-wheel drive class, big cubic inch engines, a lot of torque. You're pulling a sled. The wheel speed is critical, nailing the wheel speed and getting that sled moving off the line. Man, folks, if you look there at the rear wheel, you can see there's a red line in there. It kind of gives you an idea what the wheel speed these things are turning.
Absolutely, and perhaps, as we were talking about the weight of the truck, maybe a little bit light on the nose. As we see his front end come up early, I think hit the wheelie bars, and the front end kind of bobbling up and down as it hits those wheelie bars.
Absolutely. You got to think that Jamie Austin's probably grinning ear to ear. I knew that first hook would be worth something. Fresh track. The sled hasn't got dirt built up underneath it, and it usually gives a nice road there at the beginning of the class.
Absolutely.
These two-wheel drives, they dig in the ground pretty good, so it'd be interesting to see. We got a large amount of these trucks. There's going to get some holes. We're going to see guys selecting different sides of the track here at the beginning, and once the sled goes up and down a certain path a matter of time, it kind of builds a road for these things. So you'll see guys starting to do a little copycatting for guys in front of them.
We see the front end coming up here as he makes his pass, and the hay shaker goes 281.175. And I think I saw them making a bit of a weight adjustment over in our light mod class. I don't know that for sure, but it looked... Indeed, I just got confirmation we are resetting the sled in our light modified class. So they hate to take that away from Brent, I'm sure, but when you're the third tractor in and you lay down a pass like that, you know you're going to have a couple of them way too far out there. As much as it sucks to make some of these guys run twice, I don't think our first two competitors are going to be horribly sad that they get another shot at this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to get that second chance at it. You're going to make some changes.
We see our fourth two-wheel drive here out on the track. Kind of a similar body as it's a T-bucket, sort of, with a roof on it, called Somebody's Problem.
Yeah, this is Dwayne Bound, sorry. He is a customer of mine also. SSI Supercharger, MBR Power Plant.
We see Tom LaRue out there, I believe that is, keeping a watchful eye on him. What he's doing there is he's kind of pushing on the underside of the butterflies, and what that does is it tightens up the air gap on the injector hat and will typically slow the engine down. So these vehicles have a centrifugal clutch on them, which what that means is as the RPMs come up, it actually, locks the motor to the drive line. So by pushing on those butterflies, as you'll see people do, tightens up that air gap, slows the motor down just enough to disengage that centrifugal clutch so that they can pull it, say, from reverse to neutral, neutral to drive, things like that.
Looks like we got some issues there. It looks like they're going right ahead over to the light mod class. We got Bob Jostak out of Lapeer, Michigan, with the Wild Child. Bob's been doing this a very long time.
So many years now. My father used to campaign with 2, 3, 4, 5 in the tractor, and we would run with Bob all the time. And I was used to seeing this tractor with 4 motors at times. Now we see it here in 2. Bob said, "You guys got a light. You guys got a light mod class here at Bowling Green. I'd like to come play." So Bob will have the option to test pulling because we have seen this level.
Yeah, Bob's well-known here. Well, you could see him in and out of the throttle there.
I don't think he'll take that.
I don't believe so. Unless he's got some sort of damage that we don't know about, I would say he's probably going to drop that. We'll probably see him at the end of the class, give him an idea, get the engines cooled off, and maybe give him time to make some changes to make a better lap.
And as competitors, we get to try to make adjustments, and if we miss something, it is what it is. But to be the sled operator in that position, you already had to make a sled change because we saw Brent go far too far. And perhaps now maybe it's a little heavy, but you got to err on the side of caution. You don't want to reset the sled and still have him go too far. As we take a look at this replay, you see those butterflies transitioning open. The tractor almost kind of bounces a little bit, like it's kind of struggling to turn that gear as you see those tires squat. And we're getting confirmation that Bob did, in fact, drop that run. So we're going to get to see him come back again as well.
Yeah, and Bob's been pulling a long time. He's going to make the right changes and make a better lap than that. So it looks like we're having some difficulties over here on the two-wheel drive side with Dwayne. They're going to drag him back.
We get a nice shot of those Nichols tires there that quite a few two-wheel drives have been turning to and having some success with.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of battling between the Mayhill and Nichols tires, and I think it's, finding the right setup for whatever tire you are using. We probably should have a tally which ones have done better this year. I know they've both fared well at different places, so looks like we're moving right along here to the very next truck. This should be Cleaver Perry in the
Dirty Deeds. beautiful looking truck as well.
Absolutely, you gotta love the paint scheme on that. The colors really pop on that black.
There we can see him sporting the Mayhills as he's got the white wall tires or white letter tires as he's got those so clearly defined. He's got SRE on the butterflies there. John Card power plant, no doubt.
Yeah. I do believe those have Noonan cylinder heads on those, we can see from the valve cover. He's been running pretty good this year, so expect to make a pretty good lap out of this truck.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's got that chain tight. He's ready, guys.
Really pay attention to the white wall. Watch him getting off the line. You can watch those letters of the tires to see how they keep it hooked up. Class, we have Bill Voorhees from Argos, Indiana. This is the number 2 guy in points, and Bill's really been making progress with his tractor this year. Put together some really good runs lately. Ooh, may hurt a little detonation there out of one of the engines, but obviously getting right down there at that 350 mark. Nice run from Bill.
Yeah, a bit of a more aggressive driving style, I'm going to say. I don't think Bill walked that out very far as we see him stand up in the roll cage there. He's looking around, looking left and right, and he knows he's down in there. I'll bet he's quite pleased right now.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for that detonation, though.
Yeah, you can hear the one motor pop. He's probably not too thrilled about that, but he's going to be happy with that run. He's gonna make it hard on R.J. Simon that's sitting in first place, so looks like they got the sled setting pretty dang close, if I was going to guess.
Yeah, Bill's out there, but that did look like quite a phenomenal pass.
Absolutely. Really picked the front end up good through the middle of the track. Good speed. Not a lot of bobbling there, bouncing or anything like that, so definitely turning the tires hard.
And typical with detonation like that usually means we've got these motors basically set on kill. We're trying to get as much power out of them as possible. We know that this is Bowling Green. This is where you want to get that win. And Bill made a good hard pass out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's frustrating when you have an engine issue like that. It could have been, lean, just getting a little greedy with the fuel. Could have had an internal issue. Maybe an intake rocker arm broke and overboosted the other cylinders. Usually when they detonate like that, it's not just put another burst panel in it and go. He's definitely going to have to look at some stuff on that engine.
Absolutely. And we've got Wild as You driven by Brian Stevens backing up to the sled here on our south side.